Our guest is Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Thank you. Now, come on, natural 20. All right, come on, first chance. First time. Did it on the first roll.
No shit. You did do it.
I'm fucking master at this.
That's awesome.
Woo!
Holy
I get all the chicks.
Fuck, I cannot believe you got a fucking natural
Only a
20 on the first
5%
roll.
chance. Only if
Wow.
Only a 5% chance.
That is just all sorts of fucked up. I'm impressed. Let me just say that.
my life's going in good directions now.
Yeah, seriously. He actually did it. We were kind of hoping he'd rage for a while.
Yeah.
Nope.
Thanks for ruining it, Tim.
I know. Natural 20 of disappointment for you guys.
Today our guest is Tim.
Where once there was silence, there was now a voice. Its tone familiar, but different, bouncing from wall to wall within the small chamber. Though you hear this speech, you are becoming more alert, more aware of your surroundings. A small table less than knee height sits in the middle of the room. On the wall in front of you, a pair of long curtains, reminiscent of a magician's backdrop. Strange artwork adorns the side walls. Behind you, a single exit. Now fully free of the effects of the sedatives, you notice you are not alone. For another sits beside you, silent, also returning to consciousness. A man seated across the small table from you reads these very words into a microphone not too dissimilar from the microphone you see before you. The strange bearded man now passes you and your new ally, each a sheet of paper and some dice. On this sheet of paper, you see a word you know all too well. Your own name. Also on this sheet of paper, a rudimentary but fair summation of your attributes, knowledge, and life experiences. Make a perception check.
Oh, crap. It's been a long time. Can't remember this.
That's okay.
I need D10s.
The D10s are right here. I believe, if Tim remembers correctly, it is perception plus alertness.
Yes, I believe so. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty for this roll will be an 8.
Got a natural 20 there, so I set a high bar for myself on the side of it. One success of a possible 4, so that's great.
All right. Heather, it's your turn to roll.
All right. My turn. Watch as I fail miserably.
Oh, you never know. You got a 10.
One success.
You have both succeeded.
All right.
It is now apparent to you both that you are recording A Fistful of Dice, the paper RPG episode of Today Our Guest is Tim. The bearded man now introduces himself to you as Andy. Although short of height, his lustrous beard and ravishing looks are almost too much to behold. He looks at you and says, before we warm up, we wanted to share with you some of the ideas for this episode that didn't get used, but we still really like them. Come on, natural 20, which Tim said a little while ago.
I did.
Max strength, 0 int. It has a +9 versus ogres.
Yes.
I like that one.
Roll initiative.
Yep.
And my favorite, Newton is to calculus as Gygax is to Thaco.
Very good.
Very good.
Yay.
Now, if you guys would have botched the initiative roll, I would have told you, you believe all this to be a dream, but a lucid dream. You are aware you are dreaming, but you can't seem to wake.
Ooh.
If you would have failed, I would have said, you are blissfully aware of what in the fuck is going on at present. But you didn't. You both succeeded.
Yay.
Even with a difficulty of 8. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. My whole life has been building to this moment.
You may notice that I've just roughly estimated you guys on a
So
character
hilarious.
sheet. Yeah, you guys each have merits and flaws.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Oh, yes.
What are your
50-50 on my
what are your
humanity.
merits and flaws, Tim?
Compulsion to read and great memory.
Both 1 point.
Yes.
Merit and flaw. What about you, Heather?
Mine are so hilarious. Anxiety, obviously 1 point flaw. Comic genius, 1 point merit. Nemesis, 2 point flaw. I have Captain Beardface, 5 point merit. And Captain Facebeard is a 1 point flaw.
Sooner or later,
like
we're going to do pirate shanties. We're going to take popular songs and do them all
As
with
pirate songs.
Yeah, as pirate songs and stuff like that, but done as a parody song instead. And the character that I've created for that is Captain Beardface, but it was also for a while, it was like whether or not it would be Captain Facebeard, which I think is his evil alter ego.
Yeah.
It's Facebeard, not Beardface.
You'd have like a beard and an eye patch.
And
which
by
would be
the
very
way,
appropriate.
great on the nature and demeanor.
Oh, yes. What is your nature, Tim?
Nature Aaron Ashmore and demeanor Sean Ashmore? That's a reference that flies right over my head. I'm afraid I don't get it.
So Aaron, if I'm correct in their names, nope, I had a 50-50 chance and I still fucked it up. Aaron Ashmore was Iceman in the X-Men movies.
Okay.
Sean Ashmore showed up for a while in Warehouse 13, Whorehouse 13.
Ooh.
Warehouse 13, and he was also in, what's the name of it? Killjoys. I think Killjoys.
I've watched neither of those shows. I'm familiar with the Iceman.
I just thought it was funny.
My nature is Dot Warner and my demeanor is Yakko Warner. Love it.
I have neither age nor sex, which is worrying.
Neither do I. That's
Nor residence. So
Well, yours is
I'm kind of
ageless as you are
wandering.
sexless.
I guess. This is becoming some very,
I think we all are.
very harsh psychoanalytical.
Here's some cool warm-up stuff, because we are now at the point where we will warm things up.
Yay.
I get it all warm. Scientist Janelle Shane last year used a neural network to build D&D spell names, and now is using the process to spice up random encounters. She said on Twitter, I trained a neural network to generate new Dungeons and Dragons creatures based on a data sheet of 2,205 from the second edition monster manual. Here are some of the monsters the neural network created. Owlborn.
Yeah, I like that one.
That one's pretty good. Vampire Bear.
Terrifying.
Kick
Very
Spirit.
I love that one.
Yeah, that was about your favorite, I think.
Yeah, Kick
Which
Spirit.
one was it? What?
Kick Spirit.
Kick Spirit?
Kick Spirit, yeah.
Okay.
Hat Fright.
Oh, I like it.
They built a whole Mario
A lot of times
game.
in the Dungeons and Dragons handbooks for the monsters, they will put the name of the monster, and then they kind of have like a bracket thing at the back, which is what, not affinity, but element or whatever they are.
Oh, okay.
So this is Slug Spectral. I like also Wolf Chromatic, which I expect howls in the chromatic scale,
Probably.
which is just every note from C to C, from sea to shine. Undead Lake Man Fire.
That is
He's
the
an
worst
undead
hippie.
lake
That's
man.
the worst hippie music festival ever.
Oh yeah, that one would just be horrible.
Yeah, just, the lake's on fire and everyone's trying to eat me. This fucking sucks.
Lycanthrope, Werelado. I don't know what the fuck that means. Shadow Shifter, the new name for the White House staff. Shadow Staffer is what it was, sorry. This one is great. Dwarf, Giant,
So man, basically.
So basically a man.
Pigaloth, Meme Ball,
Meme ball.
and my favorite one is Jabberwon't.
He's just so emo. He's like,
Yeah, just the most stubborn Jabberwocky out there.
I don't wanna.
Not doing that. You can't make me.
Jabberwon't.
You're not my dad.
The Jabber will not. The Jabber can't even.
No. The Jabber just won't. Jabber don't give a shit what you say.
So RPGs,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a thing.
they're cool, and they do things for us that we don't even realize, right?
Oh.
Like they help with storytelling, social anxiety, communication, creativity, confidence, world building, artistic skills, planning, situational assessment, rolling dice better than you usually normally do, just getting fucking
good at it.
experience rolling some dice.
Gets those wrist muscles built up.
And if
Doesn't
we
help you at all with
if we talk
craps.
about specifically tabletop RPGs or paper RPGs or what are they calling them these days?
Yeah, I don't know what the official term for them is.
We
Whether it
always
is,
used to call them
tabletop.
tabletops. So tabletop is forcing nerds to get social with each other.
I suppose, yeah. You're going to have to go in a room, the small room with other people, and you're going to have to talk to them.
Yeah.
The only way it's going to work.
But it's great for imagination.
It is.
From either side of it, if you're the DM, you're thinking about planning out the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the player, you're thinking about planning out your character. You're thinking about how to deal with certain situations. You're thinking about certain things like, I should have this on me just in case this happens,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about later on
Planning
in
ahead.
Mythos.
Yes.
Mythos, which is just like make sure that you have every possession you could ever own. If you don't have a flint and tinder and you're stuck in the woods, you are fucked. Bear Grylls is not coming.
No, he won't.
He should have his own outdoor cook show called Bear Grylls, Girls, Bears.
Yeah. What if they want to like spice up the menu though? Do the occasional goose or
Oh, they still
fox or
could. It's
something?
just the name of the show.
I suppose. Don't have
Yeah.
to be quite so literal.
No need to be so literal.
But he's got to grill at least one bear a season.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of different bears. You got grizzlies, polar bears, sun bears. I think there's a giant sloth type bear too. Koala bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck a
Panda
capybara is.
bear. They'll probably be really pissed about that. But panda bears, you got to grill at least one of those.
Well, they wouldn't be too happy with sun bears either, I don't think. They're pretty
Oh, are they
close to
going? Oh, really?
I think there's not a lot of them. I don't know.
Oh,
Might not
that's-
be. I'm going to say maybe.
If it is, that's rather sad that the sun bear would be dying off.
Yeah.
Actually, there's not a lot of bears you can hunt anymore.
No, we've grilled
we
far
can.
too many of them over the years.
You can here in Canada.
Yeah. Well,
Black bears, grizzlies, and brown bears. We got lots of bears. And there is bear hunting season.
mhm.
And they do eat bear here. So there's probably a bunch of recipes you could do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Don't
the
see
bear
why
episode's
not.
going really well.
The bear episode is going fantastic. The paper RPG episode has gone to
No,
shit.
no one cares about that. Bears.
Oh yeah, okay. So
Bugbears.
bugbear.
Owl
Dire
bears,
bears.
owl
Polar
bears.
bears. Werebears.
There's a lot of bears
Bears are very big.
that they are.
Yeah.
There's that weird one that was somewhere in Canada, flew through the air and ended up decapitating 2 people.
Wow, the flying bear.
Yeah, it's something,
They are
something
dangerous.
off of just a bunch of things that are weird Canadian crimes and stuff like that have happened. They mentioned it on a different podcast, which we won't name, and it's theirs to play around with. They'll play around with it, but it's called Scan BC.
Okay.
It's their own Twitter feed, and it's just weird fucking crimes in Canada. There's a lot of really weird ones.
Including
But,
flying bear crime. Bear.
One I had read one was apparently a bear was flying through the air for some reason while they were trying to capture it or something of that nature, and the claws of it ended up decapitating 2 people or something strange like
Wow.
that. I might be wildly fucking wrong about that because it sounds
It
really,
sounds
really,
amazing.
really. Yeah, it sounds
Part of
over
me
the top, way
wants
too
it to
over
be
the top.
right, even though 2 people would be horribly decapitated, but it's just so wonderful. I do kind of want it to be right.
I do want it to be right as well.
If you do use Twitter at all, you should follow ScanBC. It's a
ScanBC.
joy.
Yeah, and you should follow our guest as Tim.
Yes, you
That
should.
probably wouldn't hurt either.
Self-promotion.
Speaking of Canadian crimes, we've just gotten on Podbean.
Ooh.
It's not a Canadian crime to be on Podbean, but we've gotten a few of our, well, actually all of the downloads that we've gotten on our podcast so far are our friends, 2 of which were from Heather's
My
sister.
yes. And if you guys are listening, you should check out her podcast, 36times.podbean.com, where she takes a comical look at all things Canadian crime. Check her out.
Check out our podcast too if you're not listening to it right now.
And that's just for downloading, Krista. Thanks. Thanks for downloading. That's a free plug for you.
That's also a thanks to her telling us about Podbean. I'm really, really happy with Podbean so far.
Oh, we're not sponsored by Podbean or anything, by the way.
No, we're not sponsored by anybody. We're not even sponsored by the Christianity, as we spoke about before. They won't sponsor us.
No, they won't. They're very weird about that.
I know.
After all the free promotion we've given
leave
them.
the poor Christians alone for a few minutes. So our friend Morgan wanted us to talk about chasing the speckled dragon, DAS, Dice Acquisition Syndrome. So have you ever gotten a set and then soon after swore a gypsy had laid a blood curse on them? Then you have to get another set to rebalance the fates in your favor, but that set has a D8 in it that's carved by Satan himself. So you look for another matching set to replace the D8. Nothing. After an hour of searching the deepest, darkest recesses of the web, you find them. Next day shipping? I fucking think so. They show up. The D8 is clean. You swap them. But what of the other dice? You can't keep them. Think of the repercussions. There's only one thing that can be done. You must do this to cleanse the dice.
The look.
The look of seriousness on your face is terrifying.
Well, this is a very serious matter
It is.
and one that deserves very careful consideration and thought.
This is not a matter just to be trifled with.
No, it is not.
No. You need to think this out well.
Yeah.
You need to really look into yourself, look into your soul, and find out what the true answer to cleanse these dice is.
Well, I think the first thing you need about 20 or 30 goats because you're going to need all their
He
blood.
goats or she goats?
I don't think it matters. I'm going to cover.
I'd go with she goats just to be sure.
Okay. Fairly confident on that. We'll go with the she goats. You need
Okay.
you need their blood, really. The rest of the carcass you don't really need. Now, create some kind of centrifuge type deal that you will then put each of the dice into different vials of the blood, which
Okay.
will then you then spin the centrifuge
Okay.
as you do. Now, this will create kind of vortex with the blood and the dice. You have to
Okay.
do this for about 24 hours.
Until all the blood's gone and soaked into it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, that's not going to change the color, is it?
No, actually, it won't.
No.
A lot of
okay.
people assume
It's
it will.
just a blood sacrifice to the angry demon which resides within the dice, correct?
Precisely.
Okay.
He's very particular about how he gets these types of things.
Whatever you have left, you get to
Oh, you can
have
do a lot of
human,
stuff with a lot
human
of-
ethical blood orgy.
Yeah, you could do that. You've already got the blood.
You're still going to piss Pete off, but you're not going to jail. Oh, really?
Why would you go to jail for something like that?
Oh, like an actual human blood orgy?
Yeah.
Well, certain aspects of
The
that.
laws of man. Who cares about that?
As far as me, I'm a big believer that fire cleanses all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one problem with that is they're plastic, and you're just going to end up with this heap of plastic with weird numbers on it. You'll end up with like
So
a
be it.
82-sided dice.
If they do not survive, they are not worthy.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I agree with that. They're a truly good dice. They would survive the flame, come out
The
purified.
cleansing flame of purity and stuff.
Morgan's answer was, to be honest, I chant "Begone, Will Wheaton," and leave my rolls and let Taliesin Jaffe, I think I pronounced that horribly fucking wrong, enter. And she keeps using the dice until they roll how she wants them to.
Yeah.
So, Tim, you had wanted to talk about Scott's evil black
Yes,
dice.
we're talking about dice. He
The little
has
red
a bunch of
spots on them.
little tiny 6-sided dice.
I remember those dice.
And they're evil. They're pure evil. I think they're made out of Hitler's bones or something. I don't know, but they're awful.
You remember those dice, those tiny little black,
yeah.
red dice? Oh my God.
I think it had to do with the fact that the long side of the dice was a little bit rounded, and then when you got to the corners, they were like cut off at an angle too, like almost like a faceted kind of gem and stuff, and they were all smooth, so they rolled way more and bounced way more.
Can I take a moment? I'm going to go turn their laser light on so they leave us the hell alone because they're acting like douchebags.
Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Andy.
How are you?
I'm good.
What's all new?
Not too much. But anyway, the dice were evil. The dice were very bad because he's the game master. The thing is, the dice didn't roll badly. They rolled really, really well. But he's the GM. You don't want him to roll really, really well. He kept doing it. And the thing is, we played a lot of a game we'll probably talk a little bit about called Brave New World, which is...
All six-sided.
Yeah, it's all six-sided. It's like a superhero game. And the old style Star Wars game was also all six-sided dice. It was trying. It was very trying years.
It was
He
a
would
dark period.
He would not botch. He would not fail things. It was awful.
I remember those things. Those things were just pure fucking evil.
I think he made a pact with some sort of demon or something to get those things.
I honestly think it had to do with that fact that they had the little
the
edges
design.
that are just the corners themselves are smoothed off, so it's almost kind of more like a ball. Like it's closer to like a 12.
But how would that make them all roll more like 5s and 6s than that?
But they're also really, really small, so gravity's not affecting those little motherfuckers as much as they should.
I think they're just evil. I don't think your science can explain any of this. Something
sorry.
beyond science.
I've tried to explain it with my science, but I can't.
You can't.
Okay, what did I miss about Scott's little black dice?
Oh, just that they're evil and bad. They rolled far too well.
Yeah,
he was the game master.
he used those. You've seen them many times before when we were playing Brave New World.
Yes.
Yeah, they were just wrong.
Yes.
Just friggin' wrong.
Yeah, I always thought there's something weird how he rolled his dice.
He never got bad rolls and stuff like that.
Never.
But that's the
Very
thing
rare.
too. For me, my rolls, no matter what set of dice I have, they're always fucking shit. So as a game master, I always had to be a little bit more like, I'm not a good liar. I'm not just going to be like, oh yeah, I totally rolled
that
like
was
45
funny, totally.
successes and you guys are all done. Everybody's dead. I'm just like, yeah, my rolls suck. So I had to be more creative with the storylines and be ready to turn on a dime because my rolls fucking sucked.
That was pretty good. Everyone has like bad streaks of rolling. It's just, percentage of it. But I think overall I've been good. I think my dice that I have are pretty good. I don't have any bad complaints.
My bad streak was pretty much the entirety of all the games I've ever played, pretty much.
well-
although there was a couple that I did. I remember there was one where we had played a game and it was the first role-playing game I ever played. We'll talk about it later, but we'll talk about the whole thing later, actually. Fuck it. Not right now. We'll wait.
Okay. That's what you want to
But
do.
no, dice acquisition syndrome, it's a real thing.
It is.
It is.
I have never suffered from it.
No, not at all, Tim.
No.
You don't have way too many dice.
No, I have just the right amount. I'm very careful about my dice acquisition. I don't want to start chasing that dragon. So very careful.
You just get a couple of sets that are really, really
Yeah.
good. And
That's it. I only have like 2 20-sided dice. I have mostly 6.
the only thing I
Maybe a
owned was
couple
those
10s.
ones I just put down there.
The 10s.
The 10s, which some of them are not the original 10s from that, but it's just a set of changeling dice. If you look at the other side, there's a little changeling
nice
thing
color.
on there.
A lot of pumpkin orange in there. Some red. Transparent green.
I
Kind of
bought
a
that
marbly green.
that little set of dice just before games will close. And I will tell you, I have the urge to buy more.
Fight that urge.
Well, it's easy because there's no place to buy them
Yeah,
around
so-
here, so I'm all right.
So, have you guys ever game mastered something?
A bit.
No.
Not a lot. A bit, though.
You had wanted us to talk about the trials and tribulations of being a game master.
Yeah.
There's always that one guy that keeps sending you the fucking notes. He's like wants you to make him into pretty much a living god.
Yeah, there's a lot of different... we could probably just get into kind of basic problems you can encounter.
Yeah, well, there's always
Playing.
that one. There's always going to be the one dude who, like, no matter what you're doing, if you're in a town of anywhere, he is looking for tail.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to necessarily be problems just by a game master. That's just problems in the
In
group.
general.
That's
Yeah.
just
we
in
can expand
general.
into group problems.
I may have never been a storyteller or a GM or a DM, but I can tell stories of issues that I'm sure the DM was rolling his eyes about.
I don't game master much, but obviously
Well, just trials and tribulations in
just gaming in general.
tabletop gaming.
Well, there's always that guy that's trying to fuck everything. That's
Yes.
just how it is.
Yeah. That's
it's not
necessarily a huge problem. It may not derail everything,
No.
but that is definitely a player type.
It is. There's a lot of different types of players like that. You were talking about the Sue Ellen or something?
Mary Sue's?
Mary Sue's.
Mary
yeah.
Sue's, yes.
There's a whole bunch of different types
There's kind of a different thing. There's people who will try to make a character based on a character from popular culture. They basically want to make Wolverine or some other cool character that they like. And they can do this in any kind of genre. It doesn't matter if it's fantasy or science fiction or superhero or whatever. They'll try to do that.
Oh, dude, that reminds me. I had a guy in one of my groups in high school playing D&D. He had this issue, and who he was always trying to recreate was Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, interesting.
So stupid.
Lightning power.
But every character had to be in some way, shape, or form Raiden.
Did he wear the big hat?
Yes.
The big hat. Ooh.
pointy hat, not just for show.
Wasn't really pointy, was why.
We did that, like me and you and Scott, Tim, we did that kind of to an extent, but we did it more objectively, trying to take things like Batman and the Joker and making them as close as we could,
We
and then
did
just
do
playing them
stuff
against
like
each
that.
other.
Yeah, we did
That was
do
fun.
that could be interesting.
Like I enjoyed that.
But that's not so much like basing your character. That's doing the best you can to make them on a character
Yeah,
sheet and then
that's
battling
done-
each other to
yeah,
see how
that's
they would
done
do in this system. It's more,
To
it's
see
not
how
really
you could do a certain character within a certain game.
Yeah, that's
how
like,
they would do against each other. Yeah.
That's like how I did your guys' characters. I did them real quick, and I just gave you skills that I thought you already actually have in life.
Yes.
I love that you gave me foreign animal Ken.
You got that extra because I gave you the 5-point ally of Captain Beardface and the 1-point flaw of Captain Facebeard. So the 4 points went to you getting an extra.
Nice. That's hilarious.
I think that's how that was supposed to work. Close enough. I didn't spend your experience points, or not your freebie points. I didn't give you virtues because both of you are pretty unvirtuous, but I gave you both a humanity of 5 because I'm sure if you guys had a fucking chance, you would probably set the whole thing on fucking fire and burn it down to the ground, but you're not actively trying to do that.
No, I'm not.
So I gave you a
actively-
5, like right in the middle.
Too much
Accurate.
going on to actually try to do that. Too much going on in life.
And there's always those people who do something so horribly stupid and refuse to accept that it's a death move.
Yeah, that happens a surprising amount.
Why do people do this?
Now, I've done stupid stuff, but I've usually accepted the consequences for it.
Yeah,
Upon doing it, you're like, oh yeah, that was kind of dumb. I probably shouldn't have done that.
I've had moments where I've done stupid stuff like that and kind of not, oh yeah, no, that maybe is a really, really bad idea. Okay, let's redo. And there's times too when I've done stupid stuff like that and I did it for a specific reason. Like I remember we were playing World of Darkness once and there was a bunch of fucking weird worm bees or wasps coming down this culvert at a werewolf, and he was kind of frenzied, ready to kill them.
Okay.
But they would really fuck him completely up. So my character, who was a changeling character, picked up a rock, threw it at him, and went, fuck you, to see if I could get his attention to follow me so I could maybe flicker flash, jump out of there
Yeah.
and actually save the guy's life. But the guy didn't, so I
It
still had
wasn't
to
really
jump out.
stupid. You had a reason for doing it.
Yeah, it was not a great idea.
No, but there's purpose behind it.
So I was either going to get killed by a werewolf, stuck down there with a werewolf, and eaten by fucking wasps.
Yeah.
No, but you're talking about people who legitimately do something
dumb
stupid
thing.
and think they could live through it.
Oh, yes.
A dumb thing I did. Not that I think I would have lived through it. I was not at all thinking through the process of what I was doing. Was a game where there was some kind of science fiction stuff. I was in power armor or something, so I had sensors. Just going through this building, and like there were support pillars
Okay.
in the building. I noticed, and I was detecting that there was something underneath one of the pillars. So I'm like, huh. I was thinking, well, I don't want to knock the pillar down because it's a pillar, just in case. I don't want to cause too much destruction for whatever reason. So I thought, there's a basement under here. I'm going to go into the basement. I'm just going to dig out underneath the pillar. Because I think my thought process was, I won't make a terribly big hole. I could just make a small enough hole that I won't cause the pillar to collapse.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking that through very clearly, because what do you think happened?
It's a load-bearing structure.
yeah.
Everything went to shit and back.
I don't think I didn't pay enough. I didn't really question, is this a decorative pillar? Is it definitely load-bearing? Because if it's definitely load-bearing, probably shouldn't start smashing out the floor underneath it.
Yeah.
That did not end well.
And there's always the guy that we won't name any names, but had a flaming ball of pitch thrown, shot towards wherever he was, and he tried to grab a hold of and turn with to throw it
Yeah,
back.
so there was. Yeah, you told me this before.
This is basically like the episode of Justice League where there's something going on to the Earth, and Superman says to Batman, "Can't we just move the Earth?" And Batman's like, "I can't even begin to explain to you all the ways that will not work." Like, I've seen people do some real stupid stuff in there. I've done some fucking stupid stuff too. Nobody's perfect.
No, we've all done dumb stuff. Sometimes you do dumb stuff intentionally. Some people
What's that? What is it?
No, I had no specific idea.
Oh, okay, I thought you had this like.
Did you guys ever have a guy in your group whose character dies and they just lose it? Like they just start bawling, crying, like losing their shit. Yeah, I have.
Oh,
wow,
God, really?
Did he have Did they have the character for a long time, or
I think a couple of campaigns, but not that long to get that attached. You know what I mean? Just so enraged, so rage quit the game. Like it's the world's first rage quit before there was video game.
Yeah, there was rage quitting.
Oh my God, it was hilarious. He took off. He left so pissed off, slamming doors.
Wow. No, I've not. No.
Just in tears.
Wow.
I can't even remember the name. Probably better. I wouldn't want to out this person anyway.
No, I don't need to use names.
But yeah. Wow.
No, never got that emotional.
You never had that? No. Never had the emotional one?
Remember we were talking, we killed off somebody's character and Mythos got killed off.
Oh, that happens a lot. Mythos wasn't a very forgiving game.
I don't think they were playing at the time, but they had done a different game with him of the things that were happening. And I think it was like Aftermath that we had to go through and figure it out. And they snuck up on my character who was like a blind swordsman.
Okay.
Really good blind fighting swordsman. And he just lopped the head off of them. And I think it was basically the game master, who will stay unnamed, just didn't want that fucking guy to be in the fucking game anymore. So he just kind of put him behind my character. So I go, take his head clean off. And I didn't even realize kind of what was going on exactly. Huh. Good times.
I guess.
It's like, I'm sick of playing with this guy. He always acts like a fucking knob. Oh,
yeah.
We're going to have to get his head chopped off. That'll be good times. Good times. Aha. So Tim, this is something that you don't know about yet, but Heather does because she was there for it. So when I was speaking with Scott, after he listened to the second episode, we had a conversation about the Wizard of Oz. Stuff from that episode that happened. Remember the whole...
Yes, the flying monkeys.
So I'm going to read it to you guys script style so that you can hear what Scott and I talked about in Facebook Messenger. Andy, what did you think of the Wizard of Oz thing? That's what we were most impressed with because it was not all planned. It comes up again in the bloopers. Scott, you mean how it was a post-apocalyptic setting? Oh yeah, the Tin Man was a decommissioned lumber robot, and the Scarecrow is a plague victim wrapped in burlap to hide his hideous disfigurement.
Oh, that would work. That works.
Andy, holy fuck, yeah, you're right. Scott, nuclear fallout caused remaining humans to shrink into munchkins and turn the witch green. Andy, Cowardly Lion was descended from zoo lions. It's all falling into place. Or was he just a furry?
Could have been either, or he could have just been an experiment.
Scott, the glow of Emerald City, radiation. Andy, man behind the curtain. Curtain was lead. Scott, people thought Oz was the dream and Kansas was real, but it was reversed. Kansas was the delusion and Oz was her brief grasp on lucidity.
Oh, could be.
Oh, yes. Yes. Very interesting.
That makes sense. It lines up.
Yeah.
Well, start working on that. They're working on that fan fiction novel. I mean, if they can do it with Wicked, why not?
With Wicked?
Wicked.
There's a lot of Wicked fan fictions, isn't there?
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't want to know what they're about, do I?
Usually penis.
Penis?
Isn't that what all fan fiction's about?
Essentially. Penis will probably come in at some point.
In some way.
Yeah.
It's time for some word gifts. A word gift is a word or phrase that didn't exist before you said it. It's just a funny gift from your brain. I don't fucking have any for the RPG one except for Rules Lawyer.
Oh, yes. Well, that's
not one we made up. That's just a classic one that if you don't play role-playing games, you don't know about. It's that guy who could be your best friend or your worst fucking enemy, but the only thing he cares about is the rules. Yeah. He is basically straight up neutral.
Well, I would contest that somewhat because a lot of rule Nazis only do the rule Nazi thing or the rule lawyer thing when it's to their benefit.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't say they're necessarily.
You were kind of rules lawyery, but you were really good with it where it didn't matter even if it wasn't to your benefit and you realized, you were going to get fucked because the rule made it so that you were going to get fucked. You got fucked.
Yeah, I got fucked a lot. It's a role-playing game. You're going to get fucked a lot. But we would mess with the rules a lot. We would never keep with the same rule system.
We always just kind of had this thing where the story was more important than the rules.
Yeah, or if there's something in the rules we didn't think quite worked. I think most people with role-playing games will do that after you've played the way this doesn't work, this doesn't do enough damage, this is a little OP
most people
or a little
do,
underpowered.
But I understand the one you're talking about. God, I had all of those in high school in one group, one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Real bad rules lawyer. Like, oh my God, and just elitist about it and totally condescending and just a jerk.
I read the book better than you. Another one that you will occasionally get when role playing is the loner.
The loner, oh.
The loner. The people who just don't want to stick, if you're playing with a group, they just don't want to kind of stick with the group. They're obsessed with going off and doing their own thing.
Jesus,
And the thing is, when you're game mastering, you're trying to do time management with a bunch of different people. If everyone's in relatively the same area, it's a little easier. Obviously, some people are going to branch out a bit, but if you get this one dink who insists they're going to go do their own thing, and many times it's boring.
Yeah.
Many times it's along the line of I'm just going to stay back and just go on my computer. Like, okay, well, we got like, werewolves to battle or something. Don't you want to do the more interesting thing?
It can get worse with that too, because they can be to the point where they're kind of like, you have to take them away from the fucking group, and then you have to go and play some with the group, and then go play some with them.
Yeah.
And play some
Then
with
you
the group.
be an issue.
let me get an offshoot of this, or where you have the loner, and I'm sure it's annoying for the group, and it's going to be doubly annoying for the GM. The loner who's determined to be the group's nemesis without the group knowing.
Oh, yeah.
The loner who's determined to betray the group, but not let the group know.
Yeah.
Just because.
know exactly what
you
you're
know what I
talking about.
mean?
Yeah.
I've had that before too, where there's one guy that he just wants to, like
He's got his own issue.
And I feel
secret
so
messages
bad
to the GM.
for the GMs who have their campaign all set out based on the group working together as 5 in a team. Now he's got to deal with this jackass.
Back to Game Master stuff real quick. Did you tend to plan your games? Did you try to like structure it all out a bit beforehand, or just kind of a basic idea, we'll kind of let it go reform and try and do it as it happens?
Like it depended on the system. If I knew the system really well, sometimes I didn't.
that would help a lot. Yeah.
But I kind of tend to be a little bit creative, so I did pretty good with that, just kind of hauling stuff out of my butt as long as I knew the system well enough. If I didn't, I had to plan everything out.
I think if I remember for you, like the best system you had back in the day was White Wolf.
Yeah.
And I remember you would plan out your major plot line, but how to get there, how everyone got to the end would just organically evolve.
Yeah. See, the problem with being too rigid with it, you don't know what the players are going to do. If you're too structured, it can all start collapsing very quickly.
Like you'd plan out like an enemy, like your major nemesis. He'd have that planned, and the major plan of the nemesis, like what his major goal is, but that would be about it. How we got to him or get from A to B to track this guy down would evolve from.
I also had the plan usually in my head too that kind of couldn't be screwed up by the players of a NPC that they were going to come in contact with at some point during it. I knew who he was, I knew what he was all about, and I knew what he was going to say, and he was going to come up at a later time. Or he was going to be a reoccurring NPC.
Like a guide. Yeah. Like an Obi-Wan.
Gotta go this way, idiot.
Didn't even have to be important. Like, you remember the World of Darkness games, we had Sneaker Pimp who would just...
he was awesome.
He was, Sneaker Pimp. He basically would sell bootleg shoes on the side of the road. But he was looking for any kind of money he would. So he would anytime he'd see my mage around who was like fabulously wealthy, he would be like, man, I'll watch your car and stuff like that, dude. And X was a cool guy. He'd just be like, yeah, here's $1,000, just watch my car. Because he had money to throw around and stuff like that. The guy was pretty much destitute, homeless guy, like with stolen shoes that are knockoffs to sell.
And an addiction problem to speed. He was addicted to speed
I think he was, or something of that nature. Yeah. But I always had little things like that figured out, like weird bits to throw.
God. Rarely seemed to plan anything. He seemed to do much more top of the head kind of stuff.
From what I know, though, I think he had some things planned out. I think he had a basic idea of what he was
usually. Yeah. But I mean, like, there were never usually any like graphs and maps.
Two types of DMs. I've had the DMs like you and Scott, where we'd come up with a basic idea for a plot line.
Yeah.
Like the major outline, very very light outline, and then just let it organically grow. Or you have had the DM that comes with a campaign book, and reads the campaign book.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen some people at like game clubs and do that.
Depending if you can get
presentation, be very important.
Someone with a half decent personality doing it.
Yeah,
they can be kind of fun.
Yeah,
they're usually a couple hours.
Yeah,
in and out.
Yeah,
if you got nothing planned, it's a good idea. If you've got a half decent charismatic DM, but we're talking high school nerds here.
Yeah,
you enter a bar. The bar is approximately 10 feet by 12 feet in length.
There you go.
It's the same thing with this. I do a lot of planning for the podcast. I do a lot of writing things down. But when it comes down to it, the best stuff that happens in the podcast are the stuff that I didn't plan at all. Like the whole thing with the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. That was not planned in any way at all. It just kind of happened.
So in reality, this podcast is just one big RPG.
Basically, essentially. It is.
Less dice roll.
Maybe we should roll dice more often.
Maybe we should during this, we should roll dice more often.
No, we have cats.
Do you guys have any other word gifts terms that people may not know of role-playingness?
There's Munchkin, but I think that's fairly well known. It's
I don't know what it is.
okay.
So
It's
you
basically,
can,
I think
you can tell
basically
me.
like a power player. You know, those people have to be the most powerful, have to have the best weapons, the best stuff. They have to be the most powerful character in the group.
Yeah, I'm going
along
to tell
those
you a
lines.
story later on about how I managed to do that by complete and utter fluke in World of Darkness. We'll talk about it in a little bit when we start talking about the different games that we've played.
Intriguing after some commercials.
If we're still talking about the type of players you get,
Absolutely.
why hasn't anyone brought up the dudes who got to play the large busted ladies?
No reason.
No reason, right, Tim?
No.
Right? The ones that spend all their points on charisma?
0 int, 20 PB.
Well, there was someone I knew.
There's someone I knew.
No, this is actually someone I knew, not me, who had an interesting theory on that. They would usually make attractive females because they came at it from kind of an economic standpoint, because you could just pay for a lot of stuff with sex and thereby save money, or maybe even get the stuff for free. So it's like, okay, that does make sense.
I highly doubt the dude that was playing in my high school group was thinking about
No,
economic reasons.
no, probably maybe not.
So no matter
But it's
what
something to
their
consider.
character class was, their like subclass was always hooker.
Hooker, basically.
Just paying for everything was sex.
I guess. Well, that's not really what a hooker is. Like some kind of weird reverse hooker. Hookers get paid to have sex.
I suppose.
They don't pay for everything with
But
sex.
then
Or
again,
do
the
they?
sex they have pays for
Stuff.
everything.
I guess so. I was wrong.
So
It's a barter
I
system.
misunderstood
it's a
sex
barter
economics.
system. I will give you 1 metric vagina for a car.
For that sack of turnips.
Well, that better be some good metric vagina, or you're just getting an old beater.
I don't know. I'm used to standard vagina. I'm not done into this all metric stuff.
That vagina better not be a beater vagina, or you're getting a
Is
beater
it standard
car.
or imperial?
Standard or imperial vagina. I think that's the one that's the size of his thumb.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or no,
No.
a foot was the size of his foot.
That would make sense.
You guys are not making any sense. Okay, stop.
Okay.
Whoa, what's with
We'll
feet
cut all
and
that
touching feet? I don't. Where have
doing
we
measurement
gone here?
system.
Anyway,
Measurement systems.
no. So back to the slut character. That's what I call them.
Oh yeah.
That applies to the guys or girls who make their characters look like sluts,
Yeah.
or the guy characters who have to go out and do every bar wench they see.
Oh, there's lots of those.
Oh yeah. If there's a girl there,
I want to do them.
I want to hit on the roll.
Mountain Dew and Cheetos is actually an accurate stereotype. Well, it was back when I was in high
I
school.
like neither of those things. I don't adhere to that stereotype. I'm not a big
No,
Cheezies fan,
not a big
Cheetos fan,
Cheetos
and I
fan,
don't
don't like
nor
the Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Why
Well, this
did we
episode-
have so much Mountain Dew in high school? Because that had the most caffeine in it that you could get at the time when you were young. Oh my God, ow.
douchebag. There's a douchebag cat that
There
keeps
are
coming
random
in.
encounters happening
Yeah,
here.
we are having random encounters as we speak. It's sample things. It's soon going to be sample things once living Ashley.
Ashley J. Williams, what is wrong with you?
You can
Trucking
share your
along.
word gifts with us on Twitter. At our guest is Tim. # word gift. And with the thing we read at the first, there actually is like a little table that's really, I mean, it's at my knee height, but my legs
You're a
are
dwarf.
really short.
You're a dwarf.
I'm a dwarf. I'm waiting for some kid. I'm waiting for some kid to do the dickish thing and be like, oh, with his buddies, be like, oh, look, there's a dwarf here. I'd be like, oh, it's a dwarf you're looking for, huh? You looking for, oh, I don't know, a magical weapon or maybe a quest? Because if you're looking for a quest, I've got one for you. Why don't you and your fellow lads go up behind the liquor store, suck each other off till a dragon shows up, and when it does, look at it and say, oh, what a lovely tea party. Then cut its head off, bring it back to me, and I'll give you 2 pence. Just fuck with them. But so
How long have you had that bottled up?
I
Yeah.
had that bottle up
He
for
made
a
unblinking
long
eye
time.
contact with me the entire
I know.
time he said that.
I like to stare deeply into your eyes.
I should have looked away.
You should have looked away. So
Onward.
our first topic is to all the games we've played before.
Ooh.
Part 1.
Oh my goodness
Yay.
gracious.
So we're just going to go through a
I
list
have a
of
list.
games that we have played before in the past.
Okay.
Trying to think about, we're not going to get the most perfect chronological order, but
No,
let's just
God,
try to
no.
remember
I
like
could
what
not.
the first ones that we played were. And I said I would say something about the first one I played before a while ago, which was
Okay.
a game made up by Scott. It was called Legends.
Yes.
And it was basically kind of a derivative of D&D. And that thing I said that happened, the one really good roll I got was I had done like an athletics check to try and get towards, like make my way towards this dragon that was attacking us. And I failed the athletics check where I managed to fall. But at the same time that I fucked that athletics check up, I wanted to say, fuck it, I'm going to throw my sword at it. And I rolled a natural 20, got it right in the neck and fucking killed the thing. It was probably like one of the best rolls I ever managed. I was like, yeah.
From that day
fuck
forth, he was
yeah.
known as Blunderchuck,
Blunderchuck.
Dragon Slayer. Tell us how you did it, Blunder Chuck. Well, I fell and threw my sword, and just through sheer chance, it killed the dragon. Like, wow, you're a massive fraud, aren't you?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
I am. This armor, it doesn't fit the way it should.
He just took all that gold. He just drank, hoard, and he was dead by the age of 37.
Yeah. Well, he tried his best. He
ended
did what
the
he
legend
could.
of
Yes.
Blunderchuck.
Blunderchuck.
The Dragon Slayer.
Yes. Coincidentally, the first game I played was also one that someone had made up. I cannot recall the name. I don't think it was based on an existing system from what I can remember from the rules, but it was a fantasy-based one. I made a ninja.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Played like a couple campaigns in it. Or a couple sessions.
First one I ever played was a Western named Deadlands
Oh, yes. I've heard of it.
with my cousins in Florida. Don't remember much about it. I can't even remember what kind of character I played. I just know that my cousin had a character named Unborn Salamander. Supposed to be a white dude. It was kind of
That's
funny.
great.
Not bad for a 14-year-old at the time, to be honest with you.
I think Deadlands is kind of like post-Civil War Wild West, but with like some magic and supernatural stuff in it, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. I've never played it, but I've heard of it.
Honestly don't remember. It was
like
so many
zombies
years
and shit.
ago.
I've at the most seen the cover of the books, and that's
Yeah.
about it, really.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of it online.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever played Deadlands.
So let's instead then first go back to the first RPG that was made, Dungeons and Dragons, like Gary Gygax.
Gygax.
Gygax. Gygax. So D&D was, when was it? Like late 70s, I think?
Mid late 70s. It started as like just using little miniatures and fighting, almost just like a little tactical game. I don't think there was too much role playing to it, and the rules just kind of grew out of that.
Okay. Now, D&D. I've never actually played D&D. I did at one point own a player's handbook and a Dungeon Master's Compendium, I do believe.
Now, are you talking about Dungeons and Dragons or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons?
The one I had, I think, was second edition.
That's second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I have never actually played the original Dungeons and Dragons.
I've seen some, I've like read through some, I knew some people who had some of the small books, like the really thin booklet ones.
Okay.
And I think I played one session of AD&D. I made a sword master, and to go with the whole topic before about problem dice, I couldn't hit shit with that guy the entire session. There was three of us, the game master, and like me and another player. And like the whole time I was like, okay, I'm gonna roll this time. God damn it, no. Roll this time. No. The other guy's just like cleaning house. I'm not getting killed too bad, but I can't hit anything for 3 goddamn hours or however long that was. I don't think I scored maybe 1 or 2 hits.
And it was kind of complicated. It was not Mythos complicated, which we'll talk about later, but it was complicated.
Original Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know. I know Advanced Dungeons and Dragons second edition was complicated as hell.
Yeah.
Because that's when you had the negative armor class. Let's see if I remember how to do this properly. So to hit, I think depending on your class would be, I think to hit would be Dex.
Dexterity attribute.
And then you have your roll.
Yeah.
But your THACO, you had to subtract your THACO and add the armor class to see if you hit.
Yeah.
So the armor class could go into the negatives.
THACO literally it means to hit armor class 0. I know that because I looked up THACO before we started doing this just to get a bit of an idea for it. I don't fucking know and understand how it goes.
Abbreviations.
It was a lot of adding and subtracting. I used to be really good at it. Now I suck. You know why? Because I stopped playing D&D. See what happens? You stop playing RPGs,
And your
tabletops, and your brain is not sharp anymore. It's really good at
Math
math.
skills die.
And you don't carry a slide rule with you anymore,
No.
so you didn't have one of those.
No, it was ridiculously stupid the way they had to calculate to hit.
Yeah. Well, there is, I cannot for life of me recall the name of it. It's a modern, kind of a modern military type RPG. I found it on a list of worst RPGs ever. And the problem with it was intensely complicated.
Okay.
To figure anything else. Because the problem is when you're playing RPGs, the systems in that have to be based on some degree of probability, dice rolls based on skills, based on blah, 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 blah. And so rather than keeping it simple, they went in the, let's make it very complex.
Yeah.
And I was reading a session some people had played to determine what would probably have been maybe 10, 15 seconds of a firefight. So in the game, the characters are shooting at each other for 10, 15 seconds. It took them an hour and a half of rolling and checking charts to figure out what happened.
Holy shit.
Because it'd be like the bullet comes into your left side, it hits this organ, it slightly deflects going upwards, it hits this other organ, and then it hits your rib cage, and it bounces out, and it leaves your body. And it was just like,
was the game developed by IKEA?
I don't know. I think it was developed by someone who was like, the beautiful mind guy who's probably sitting there writing.
Yeah.
And then this is going to be the stat for this, and then you take your intelligence stat and you put it there with your housing.
He made game theory, not role-playing game theory. No, I always found when the systems were kind of like, I like the ones in World of Darkness because they were pretty simple.
Very simple.
And it didn't take away from the speed at which you could do the story. Less time you spend to figure out, okay, this is what happens, and this is neat that, you missed that, but you did do this or whatever. But the fact that it was pretty quick meant that you could get more story in than just figuring things out.
It's a system that focuses much more on the role-playing and storytelling aspects than combat and stuff like that. Combat was very simplistic on it.
When I first played, because I first played World of Darkness with you guys.
Yeah.
Before then, I played mostly D&D and Rifts. So when you guys showed me World of Darkness and I saw the dot system, I was like, oh, it was so amazing. I was this is so easy. Oh my God. I was so happy. And then I have a hard time with anything that isn't the dot system now.
If I didn't mention before, the character sheets that I passed them with their names on them were mortal character sheets from World of Darkness from Vampire the Masquerade.
Mortal.
Which basically in those games, it just put average human was 2.
Yeah, you were pretty much. So
average people weren't doing too well in something. You were the average person. If you had 1, you were diminished in it, and if you had 0, you were dead. Apparently,
I
think that's how it worked. That you could not have 0 in a stat unless there was an extreme circumstance. Like for instance, I think it's the charisma, or is it the
appearance? I think you might be thinking of appearance.
Yeah, it's appearance for the Nosferatu. They had a 0.
It's a really ugly vampire.
Oh yes, very very.
But they have wonderful personality to make up for it.
That's great.
Some do.
They're real book smart, right?
Like they could be.
Well
I'm sure there's some dumb ones out there. Don't stereotype, Andy. There's got to be some that don't read. All Nosferatus are book smart.
Well, what else are they going to do down in the sewer where they've confined themselves?
Brain rats. Make some kind of a circus.
I suppose make a circus. Nosferatu circus. Oh my God, I want to role
They can
play
find
that.
one of those alligators that everyone
Can
says.
we role play a Nosferatu rat circus?
Nosferatu rat circus, yeah. It only shows up at night.
Yeah, come on, kids.
Oh, you have to put that in your next World of Darkness game. Have it to be some weird underground ring. Okay, I'm writing a book now. Okay, never mind.
That could be kind of fun.
That's actually kind of fun.
So moving on to another game. I think after that, I don't know what you played, but you and I it would have been the stuff that was the Palladium type stuff of Rifts.
I think that's
and
what
you
I
played
was
Rifts.
I played
Rifts.
First one I would have done, it would have been a Palladium made game, but it would have been Robotech.
Yeah, I think
back
that was
then
another...
they had the rights to the Robotech game.
Yeah,
Oh yes, I played Robotech too back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. I think that was probably after the D&D type ones that we played. That's the first real one that I played.
Yeah, that was definitely for me the first real one. For those, I'm sure everyone knows Robotech. It's like an anime from the 80s.
Yeah.
It was crafted together out of free animes and dubbed it into English to make it one.
In high school, I did play a lot of advanced D&D. I played Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Dark Sun, Dragonlance, that whole... I never did Spelljammer. No, that's just weird. But I did play a lot of that stuff, so I did do a lot of the THAC0 thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, the only other ones I really did play was Robotech and Rifts in high school before I met you guys.
Robotech, basically giant mechs battling aliens with giant mechs.
Yeah.
Lots of anime, lots of people with blue hair and shit like that.
The aliens were also giant as well.
Yeah, the Zentradi, they were all huge, and music and human emotion and kissing confused them. It was actually, if you actually watch the old episodes, it was actually part of our battle strategy to defeat them.
Yeah.
We sang music at them, and then people kissed, and they didn't know how to
That
handle
was
it.
Min-May's whole point, was she was projected singing out to the Zentradi, and it freaked them out.
I always wondered when that was going on, and there was the point in the battle where the battle is like, it's almost lost. We have to get Min-May to sing. If there wasn't just one guy who was like, oh, fuck this, and he just flies straight into the deck of the SDF-1, just like, I'm not doing it again. Fuck it. No. Ah! And just...
And it was super poppy, so that I just imagine the one metalhead in the fleet just freaking out every time.
this shit again.
Oh, yeah.
This is so not metal. Can't they play some fucking Sabaton?
Or giant robot. Metal.
Riffs.
And then Riffs, also made by Palladium, which is...
Before we got to Riffs, like the early Palladium stuff had, was it the MDC first or STC? Structural damage capacity.
Okay, I'll get into that. Okay, because if we're going to talk about Riffs, then we'll have to differentiate this because this is what makes Rifts go off the rails. Rifts conceptually is quite neat. It's a post-apocalyptic world. There's a huge nuclear war in the early 21st century, and all those people getting killed unleashed all this psychic energy, which caused all the old dormant ley lines and that, if you know about all that mystical bullshit, to burst to life, and that caused a bunch of rifts, big like tears in reality, and all this supernatural horror and magic and everything else came back into Earth. And now it's a few centuries later, and humanity's kind of rebuilt itself to some degree. So it's got science fiction stuff. You've got power armor, giant robots, mutant animals, all that kind of stuff. But you also have magic and like dragons and fantasy stuff and weird alien shit.
Yeah,
and all
you
that.
also had the weird offset too of like there was like the tattoo guys, which were kind of almost
they were from the Atlantis book. They have like magical tattoos.
Yeah, they were called the Maxi.
A lot of the early character concepts.
I played one. One of my main characters was one of those.
Yeah.
I also played one of those shadow people that wear the go-go boots.
Oh, maybe there's a ton of like stuff for Rifts now.
Because they're monochrome, they make up for their lack of color and pigment in their wardrobe. Apparently, they dress quite flashy.
Okay. Like
They
those
make pretty
penguins
good
off of
assassins,
DuckTales.
though.
There was an episode of DuckTales where they came across penguin people, and they all like got all the penguin people were obsessed with all their clothes and that because it had color in it, which is something they don't see because it's all black and white and all this. Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember that.
No?
I suppose if they live in Antarctica, all they
there's
see
no
is
color down
fucking
there. They see like a red scarf. They're gonna be like, "Holy shit!
What is that? Oh my god!
Can you
It's
imagine?
red. It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I think I've ever seen."
So anyway, the concept of Rifts is actually pretty good,
Yeah.
but the problem is mega damage.
Oh,
Which
God,
is something
yes.
that might have originally come out of the Robotech game because it makes sense in Robotech. So in the Palladium system, you have hit points like everything else. That's what keeps people alive. And they come up with something else called SDC, which stands for structural damage capacity, which usually was the hit points for an inanimate object like your car or your body armor or your chair or something, or a tank. But they also give it to characters in a lot of the games. So like basically if you're just getting hit in your SDC, most damage has to whittle your SDC down before it gets to your hit points. Still it gets to your life points or your hit points, rather it's not life.
I remember that part.
Now, because the whole system just works on keep doing damage and whittle the hit points down, when they were doing big giant robots for Robotech, you couldn't use just hit points because in order to scale it, you'd be using thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah.
So they came up with something called Mega Dam, which is basically just 1 mega point of mega damage is 100 SDC or hit point.
Yeah.
So if you had something that was 100 SDC, that would be like 10,000 hit points if I did my math on that correctly.
100 times 100 is
1,000?
10,000.
10,000? Yes. Cool. Which works out fine in Robotech. They're giant robots that are like 50 feet tall hitting them. The problem with Rifts is they scaled all that into handheld energy weapons and body armor you would wear.
Yeah, I
so the
remember that.
pistol that you would use would be capable of blowing a basketball-sized hole right through a house.
I remember at one point there was one game I think we were playing where it was crossed over between like Macross and Rifts.
Could have been.
And it was just like, what the fuck is the fucking point?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, the thing is, the Macross stuff, like a great big, like 50-foot tall Veritech or something, are actually really underpowered compared to the Rift stuff. Like Zentradi Battle Pod, which is the bad guy's main vehicle, has 50 hit points. That's light body armor in Rift.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it makes it like that means like one shot from a laser pistol, you're gone.
Yeah. And they were huge too. They should have had much more than that, just in the fact that they were giant.
Yeah. It throws everything off. That means you get accidentally hit with a stray shot from a laser pistol. It's going to do anywhere from 200 to 800 damage. Your character probably doesn't even have over 100 hit points in total with hit points and SDC. You're just gone unless you're wearing body armor, which is why no one would take their body armor up.
Yeah.
A couple of the books I have for Rifts have like little like Q&A things, people just asking questions about the system. And this came up a couple of times about how like players would never get out of their armor because it's almost guaranteed insta-death.
Yeah.
If any kind of damage starts getting thrown around, you're fucked.
I remember, I think it was the crossover was Macross and Rifts, and I think I was playing a Valkyrie pilot, and it was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. There's nothing I can do. While editing this, I remembered what my out strategy was for this horrible fucking campaign. I pointed the Valkyrie's gun about 4 feet off the ground, relaxed the grip, got out, put my face in the end of the barrel, pulled it towards myself, said, I got better fucking shit to do, and left. Even like the tiniest hit from these guys,
it will whittle
like
you
a
down.
flick of the finger is gonna turn me into paste.
The game also has a bit of a problem with, I think they call it codex creep in Warhammer. Each subsequent add-on keeps making stuff more powerful, a little more powerful, a little more powerful. So it's like, it's a good setting, good ideas, not a good game system. As far as I know, they have not tweaked it at all. D&D's up to what, 5th or 6th edition?
I have no idea.
Are they still making Rifts books?
I think so. I think the company's still going.
I didn't think they were making them anymore.
Maybe not.
You still have
Maybe
quite
that's
a few of them,
why.
right?
Yeah, maybe, but I think they're still doing games, at least until if they stopped, it was only fairly recently.
Yeah, you still have quite a few of the books.
Oh yeah, I got like old ones, all like pre-2000. They're all like from the 90s and that.
Yeah.
Interesting game, but it needs a new rule system. Apparently he's fairly litigious about that. Kevin Sambedia, the guy who runs the company.
Yeah.
If he sees like you've posted online stuff, like here's how to do another rule system, but in the Rifts game, apparently he will insist on it getting taken down.
Oh yeah.
From what I've heard.
So that was pretty much everyone's first two, is a bit of D&D and some Rifts. We were both
Rifts
into
was very
that.
big.
Robotech as well. Then I guess we all moved on to White Wolf.
No, actually,
No,
there was a couple
we
of
didn't.
games in
We did
between
other
there
stuff
for
before
me
White Wolf.
me and Tim here. Do you remember Heroes Unlimited?
Oh, I played that with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heroes Unlimited is also made by Platinum Book.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good because there was a mega damage in it. So even though it's still like a level-based D20 system, I'm not a big fan of level systems. I find they're too rigid. But anyway, no, it's a pretty good superhero game.
And they also had Palladium in there, and
which is just kind of a D&D game, basically. Ninjas, and they had the rights to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, they did.
And not the cartoon show, the dark, gruesomely
really
violent,
messed up comic
book. It's actually one of the first offshoots of the comic book. Comic book came out in 1984. The role-playing game came out in 1985.
Okay. That was pretty quick after.
Yeah, that predates the cartoon by a few years, actually. And I was
the
reading
cartoon was very tame, and the comic book was just
for kids.
brutal.
Oh yeah, they straight up kill people. Just for anyone who knows, they always come up with different reasons why in the different like movies and cartoon shows why Splinter trained them as ninjas. The reason in the comic books was specifically to hunt down and kill the Shredder.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you've seen the original live action movie, right, Splinter was an intelligent rat who mimicked his master and learned ninjutsu that way. That's how it happens in the comic book. And then the Shredder kills his master. So that's the whole point of it. He's avenging them. Like, I trained you teenagers up to go murder that guy, which they do. They kill him in the first story arc.
And the other point for that movie was for all of us to have that horrible memory that Vanilla Ice once did a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle rap song.
Second movie.
Yeah. It's not good.
Oh, Ninja rap?
Yeah.
I don't.
Ninja rap. I think that's it. Yes, I think that's it.
Try to remember.
I think that's it. I'm remembering.
You know what we'll do? We'll put a link to the YouTube in the description for you guys.
Sure,
if you really want to. If you want to go ahead and traumatize yourself and see what the 90s was truly like.
But the Ninja Turtle game was pretty neat. You built a mutant.
Yeah.
You started off with an animal, and then you had points, and then you spent the points to give them hands, give them bipedal stance.
Oh,
let them
I remember
talk,
that. Yeah.
Make them look more human if you want. You can make them look totally human. Then you spent the points like that. It was a pretty neat system. But they don't make it anymore because they lost the rights in 2000, I believe.
Okay.
And there was a post-apocalyptic version of the game too called After the Bomb.
I remember that.
Kind of like basically it's Fallout with furries, essentially. you have a evil little human empire that's kind of like the what are the bad guys in Fallout? The Enclave. They're kind of like the Enclave. They have more advanced technology, power armor, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, just having weird death claw thoughts going through my head.
Yeah, you could totally have death claws.
There was also in Palladium. There was Palladium.
Yeah, the Palladium role playing game, which is just the D&D ripoff.
And in there too, I think around that time too, you and I and Scott had I had bought a game one day called Toon, which is one of the most ridiculous games I've ever played.
Yeah,
it's
quite
a
good.
Fun game.
You play a cartoon.
Yeah, you had
cartoon hijinks and
your abilities, your attributes were like chutzpah and motzi and stuff like that.
Timey terms. Chutzpah, moxie.
There was cartoon physics in it, like how
nice.
How you would go over the edge of a cliff, and until you actually looked down, you didn't fall, or until you actually used that foot to feel around to realize there's no actual floor.
So as long as you didn't realize the floor was gone, you were fine.
You were good. There was also one of your items was you could have a bag or a sack or some kind of thing that held stuff. Reach in to get items that you should happen to need. And if you failed your roll, I believe there was a big random chart of just random crap you could pull out instead.
I remember playing that, and there was many times we get to a point where we were just all laughing so hard we couldn't continue.
Well, this reminds me, there was one game I remember, Sean Connery showed up in a lot, where we had it kind of timed, and we would switch who would game master.
Oh, yes.
We would go to a certain point when we thought there was sort of a scene change, and then the next person would start game mastering, and the story would continue to a scene change or whatever we decided, and the next person would game master. We just kept going in a circle like that.
Yeah,
that's a game that makes
kind of a continue the story.
That's very good for that.
That was a fun game. I liked that game. We started playing World of Darkness.
High school, I think, for me.
Yeah, me and you and Scott, and
a variety of others. That's what a lot of people around here are playing for role-playing game. World of Darkness kind of took the place by storm.
I actually started playing World of Darkness not long before I met you. I was playing with a group in college. Remember I went to that LARP?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that LARP? No, we don't want to talk about that LARP.
Okay.
In St. John. Well, maybe.
Now you've
Maybe.
intrigued us now. You can't
well, I'll
entirely
tell
just
you a little
walk
bit.
away.
It was in St. John. God, it was
I've never LARPed.
99. 5 of us drove down to St. John in a Renault. First of all, let's just start with that.
Which is a French guy.
We all just mounted
French
onto
Canadian.
Renault and he just
Yeah,
No,
I'll get you there.
it's a
Don't
type
you
of
worry.
car. Do you guys
Renault will
know
get
what
you
the
there.
Renault is?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I know cars.
Okay.
I don't.
You don't know what a Renault is?
I do, but I don't. But I do.
You
but I
get
don't.
why I'm laughing then.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, and it was held at Bogart's, which is a gay club. It was held above it. And it was the different chapters of the World of Darkness LARP. More Vampire the Masquerade, actually. It wasn't World of Darkness. It was just Vampire. The different clans were there from different places. We had people from Maine, all over province, Fredericton.
It was like a big thing.
I went as a Malkavian, because why not? Because I figured if you go as a Malkavian, then no one can question what you're doing at any time.
No, that's true. That was always the big hindrance for me. Initially getting into World of Darkness, having because they got different clans and tribes and types, and I could never pick one. I was always like, that.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot.
I thought that would be great. I'll just go as a Malkavian. Except I get there and find out the Malkavian Primogen apparently is sitting there in a black leather straitjacket and is completely insane, like real life, IRL. Yeah, creepy as hell. I was like, great, I get to hang with this guy all night. No.
Should have picked a better clan.
I got roped into pranking the prince. That was fun by one of the Malkavians from Maine who showed up in a bathrobe. It was really good. It was a good time. We had fun.
Yeah.
I met a lot of really weird people I'll never see
Yeah,
again.
imagine.
Yeah, that's my story of the LARP. I don't recommend it unless you're hardcore into it, man. The people are a little strange.
I imagine, yeah.
I remember the people that were into the vampire LARP used to hang out in the Tim Hortons, and it's like,
Oh, the urge
guys,
just to walk in there
drink
without a sharpened
coffee?
wood. Yeah.
Part of the reason I went as a Malkavian just so I wouldn't have to dress up all emo like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was,
Like I could wear colors.
For those of you not familiar with the World of Darkness, especially the first iteration of it, was painfully 90s. Like when the Matrix came out, we were all sure it had to have been at least somewhat inspired by World of Darkness stuff, because you're looking at the trailers, everyone's in leather, they're talking in very cryptic kind of, open your mind.
Yeah.
Do it, Neo. Put on this trench coat and kick thing.
If you really want to see what World of Darkness was like in the 90s, look up the show Kindred. There's about 9 to 12
2
episodes floating around out there if you're lucky enough to find them. It's pretty much exactly what World of Darkness in the 90s
Kindred the
LARPing was
Embrace?
like. Kindred the
Yeah,
Embrace.
it was based on the World of Darkness.
It was, yeah, but that's pretty much exactly what LARPing was like.
Yeah.
If you watch that show.
So-and-so's crying again.
Yeah,
I don't
blood,
like being
tears,
immortal.
blood tears, blood tears.
Yes.
It's horrible. I'm so old.
At least none of our vampires sparkle.
Yeah,
that's
none of
true.
them sparkled.
Could handle blood tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can cry a
Sparkle?
lot, just don't sparkle.
Yeah.
Stop going to high school all the time. Why would you want to do that? Move on with your life. Tristan or whatever the hell his name
I suppose we
was.
should thank God they never made a Werewolf the Apocalypse TV show in the 90s. It would have been terrible.
Yeah, the special effects technology would not have kept up to that.
No. It would have been.
I mean, if you even look at Underworld,
Yeah.
Werewolves didn't
God.
look great in that.
they weren't bad. They weren't horrible.
They looked like
but
weird rat people. I don't like the design. Not so much special effects. I didn't really like the design of them, all weirdly hairless and stuff like
Oh,
that.
might as well get into werewolves. Let's just
Yeah.
delve right deep into
Werewolves.
werewolves. My
They-
absolute favorite game system, Werewolf the Apocalypse. I love
Yes,
werewolves. Werewolves are my
werewolves.
favorite. My favorite horror movie monster, werewolves. Although they've never done them right. Actually, the best werewolf I've ever seen was from the Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman back in the day.
I do remember that. Have you ever seen American Werewolf in London?
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty good. Good movie.
But I mean, the
Yeah.
way I envision what a werewolf
the way
should
they
look like,
The werewolf, yeah.
the Van Helsing movie is the only one I've seen do a half decent werewolf.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop the fact that I want more werewolf movies. I don't care if they're shit.
The werewolf in the movie Dog Soldiers does not look the best, but it is portrayed really well. The movie itself is just incredibly good.
Yes, I do recall liking that. It's been a few years since I've seen it.
It's really good. It's
British,
not the best.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the best quality of werewolf, but it's better. It's a better story. It
Seeing
works
as
out
we've
better than
already brought
fucking
up
Howling.
both White Wolf and Underworld, wasn't there this big hoopla between White Wolf and
kind of, 'cause
Underworld?
It was a little too on the nose.
It was, wasn't it? Between
Werewolf versus, it wasn't just werewolf versus vampire. I think it was also the way the vampires kind of structure their society that was very similar.
The wolves as
vampires
well.
are all hoity-toity and rich, and the werewolves are more kind of street thuggy. And yeah, it was pretty close. I think they settled it out of court, but there was some issues.
Yeah.
White Wolf got a little
Hot under the collar. White Wolf collar.
got themselves all in a big tissy over it.
Well, God forbid you
Probably
inspire
cried
people
blood
to create
tears
new
and
cool
that.
things.
Continuing on White Wolf, my
White
second
Wolf.
my
So-
second favorite in that system would be Changeling.
Yes. So there's what?
That's my favorite, I think. Although I love werewolves. I love werewolves so much. I wrote a song about them called Zombies, a song about werewolves.
Yes.
And it's called Zombies, a song about werewolves, because they always make fucking zombie movies and they never make a werewolf movie. And that's all I want is just one werewolf movie, just a decent one.
Maybe they'll have their day. There were zombies were around until we were sick of them. Maybe werewolves will be next.
Zombies are still around.
I know. Well,
People are still not sick of them.
They've kind of died down a little.
I'm sick of them.
The other system that I remember playing too around the World of Darkness time is we started playing the Star Wars system at the same time too.
I was playing.
That's the
I played
old
it
Star
the
Wars.
Yes,
Star
that's
Wars.
true. Yes, I
The
did start
first
playing around
original
that
Star
time.
Wars.
I played it once or twice before that, but not with like a character I consistently used in that.
I only remember my droid engineer from them, and that's why I recreated her in the new Star Wars system because I loved her.
I was more of a bounty hunter person.
Another game I played back in the day was Shadowrun, which I enjoyed quite a bit.
I didn't play
It's
that.
your cyberpunk.
Yeah,
kind of
cyberpunk.
fun.
Everyone's an elf. Or magic came back into the world, and people started turning into elves and trolls. And that's why
I
we
didn't
have
get
them.
so much into the fantasy side. I was more we played more of a cyberpunk
very 80s
campaign.
cyberpunk.
I was one of those characters that could jack into their car, basically control their vehicle with their mind. Pretty cool. I was pretty particular about my car. It had a lot of weapons in it. It was pretty cool.
Early cyberpunk days, we didn't expect wireless would be a thing.
Yeah.
You had to jack into everything.
Yeah,
You had to have wires
Johnny
everywhere.
Mnemonic. Actually, it's funny when you think about it now. I never even thought about it before.
Yeah. What's this wire? No, I got to take a thing, plug it into my temple, and then bring it into this computer.
Oh my gosh. That's so
I did
funny.
actually play that once, I believe. I made a mercenary for it. I played one session of it.
It was a fun system. I think it was a D6 system.
Okay.
I think
remember the
all I
system
ever
at all.
did for it was I made a character and I never actually ended up playing it.
Okay.
So I don't really know much about it.
Another real
but-
fun one that was obscure back in the day that you and I played with our friend Brian was a Nominee, which was about angels and demons and the soul.
Never even heard of it.
It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I think you were a demon that would possess different bodies or something like that.
Yeah. That sounds like me to play a demon.
I think we were all playing demons. We weren't playing angels. Screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of us.
Lawful good.
What?
I don't do lawful good.
I don't think you played it as much, but was another relatively early one with me was Twilight 2000.
Yeah, I played Twilight.
You did play. I know you did play it. Yeah.
Quite not
fair
as
amount.
much as you, but
No.
I did play it some.
It's a really good game.
Very good.
Kind of World War III, kind of post-apocalypse survival game. Very military oriented, but it's more kind realistic. There's not like weird mutants or terribly advanced technology. It's very good. There's a supplement offshoot of it called Merc 2000, where you're just mercenaries.
Yeah, I remember.
It's
Merc
basically
2000.
Cold War, nuclear war happens. Now you're bumming around Europe trying not to catch typhus. Pretty fun. Very good system. Very good. It's one of the best gun combat and modern weapon combat systems I think I've seen.
Yeah.
It's pretty simplistic, but it's well balanced in that.
I know. I remember it being pretty decent of a system. Like I liked it.
That's one we tweaked it a little because I know we upped the damage dice in it. We're normally 6-sided dice. We upped it to 10, which made the guns much more appropriately lethal. Shotgun could literally take you in half at close range, which is what you want.
That's basically what a shotgun will do at close range.
exactly.
If you've got buckshot.
You don't want people. You want people to be afraid to be shot in these things. You don't want to go, I got plenty of hit points. I can take 9 or 10 rounds to the chest. No. You want them to be scared.
I can manage to 50 cent it for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I got to stop.
Come out with a really good rap album afterwards.
I think the only other game then that I've played would be Brave New World.
That's a good
with
one.
you guys.
Yeah, superhero game. Very interesting. It's a D6 system. You basically get superpowers, and they're kind of set. You get like a power package. Like if you're a flyer, that's your power. You fly. If you're a blaster, you just shoot energy things. So there's not like a lot of like Superman where you're.
It's more X-Men-ish than it is.
Yeah, kind of.
Superman.
There are actually more powerful. And the characters that are super powered in it are called deltas. Yeah. And you become one if you have the right gene. And usually some sort of horrible trauma happens that would otherwise kill you, like a car accident or autoerotic asphyxiation or something like that. And then you gain superpowers.
Oh, yeah.
And a very, very small amount of people of those deltas, if they die again, they might become alphas, which are even more powerful. That's more like Superman or Storm or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting setting because it's kind of like America's this shitty, horrible police state. John Kennedy survived his assassination and is now like the crazy president who still runs everything. Ronald Reagan heads the secret police, and it's a very interesting. You're basically in like the resistance. And I think it's very interesting. A lot of celebrities and historical figures in the world became superpowered. Bob Marley was one of them.
Oh,
Going
Martin Luther
from
King.
I just imagine the guy he's a Delta. And he's like, I'm trying to save everybody. I'm trying to save everybody, and I can't. And he's like, do I stroke and choke and see if I become an alpha?
Yeah. Well, that was the one problem. You got some players who were always like, okay, I fell down a flight of stairs. Am I an alpha yet?
Yeah. No, you're not.
I got shot in the shoulder. Am I an alpha? No,
you're not.
No, you're not. You're not any kind of alpha. Sad little beta.
You guys haven't talked about the one game system with the world's funniest LARP, Human Occupied Landfill.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we're gonna get to that after the
that one's
stuff.
special.
I think actually
That one's very special. I understand. I still love how to save the
look at this real
game.
quick and see if I want to talk to you about this. Or I'll just read it anyway, and we'll see if we actually want to talk about it.
All right, we will judge.
No, so we had seen Last Jedi finally.
Oh, good.
And enjoyed it very much. And then I was thinking about the Star Wars game, and I was thinking about this, and I don't want to talk about that. No, we're not going to bother.
Screw you, topic.
Talk about Star Wars for a minute. When Mark Hamill went back to the franchise, he wasn't completely happy with the vision of Luke and an idea for how the final act of Force Awakens.
So you liked the movie, basically?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
Basically, I think all you really want to mention is that how you liked it looked like Luke was the archetype for the fallen Jedi from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they had an archetype.
I just thought it was cool that they took the Jedi and turned him into the fallen Jedi.
Yeah, that works.
Like, that was a really cool thing. I liked the whole thing. I really liked all of it. But then again, when it comes to me in Star Wars, I know people will just sit there and they will whine and bitch and whine forever.
The fun fan base.
Oh, yeah. But I just go, okay, midichlorians, well, forget about those. They're not
I think
cool.
everyone forgot about them. In fact,
they don't exist.
I just throw out the stuff I don't need.
Yeah, that's what a lot of fans do. I think midichlorians in the new Star Wars game, which has only come out, and then like role-playing game, which has only come out in the past few years, I don't think midichlorians are mentioned anywhere in it.
I doubt
they do acknowledge a fair amount of, like, they acknowledge pretty much all the prequel stuff, of course, but I don't think, even when the discussions of the Force, I don't think they're in there. I think that's the one bit that they just said, okay, we'll keep Jar Jar, but that's got to go.
We'll concede with Jar Jar, but midichlorians do not exist.
One of the books actually do have the stats on Gungans, should you want to make one, and then just,
no thanks,
horribly kill them.
My justification for Jar Jar comes from the Clone Wars. Did you see the Clone Wars, Tim?
The movie?
No, the
TV show?
TV show.
I've seen bits of it. I have not seen the whole series, no.
The way they use the Gungans and the way they use Jar Jar in that is really cool, because the way they use Jar Jar is he's a savant moron who just manages to be so amazingly clumsy that he ends up getting really cool things done.
I'll give you this one. I really give props to Ahmed Best, I think did play Jar Jar and did the voice from all that. Yeah, he's good. He owns that character. He's just like, yeah, I'm fucking Jar Jar. Goes on Robot Chicken and all that, does it?
Oh, yeah.
I totally respect that. I do not like the Jar Jar character, but I will give that man props.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So, fantasy shows that you should watch. The very first one I'm going to mention is, because I'm realizing now that I talk about it sometimes, that people who are real young don't know about the Neverending Story. So there's probably going to be some people that listen to the first episode and I went on about that Neverending Story thing, and they're going to be like, what the fuck was he talking about?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
That,
and
quite...
Just watch the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made sequels, didn't they?
They are terrible. Don't watch them. They don't exist as far as fandom goes.
No, I think they only ever made the one movie. Same thing with, did you ever see the Highlander movie?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm
surprised they didn't make more movies of those or a TV series. You think they'd try to do that, but they clearly didn't.
It would have been cool if they would have, but they never did. There was just that first one with the Kurgan, and that was awesome.
With Clancy Brown.
Hashtag there can be only one.
We are witnessing full denial.
Yeah.
Although if I was to come clean,
denial.
I'd have to say, unfortunately, the first Highlander I seen was the second one.
Yeah, and you're probably just going.
I'm just like, I mean, it had Michael Ironside in it, and he was, Michael Ironside's always good. He was the bad guy, but I was like, what in the gods? And then when I saw the second one, I'm like, okay, so this isn't about weird aliens that can only die when they get their heads cut off?
Yeah.
This seems more like a fantasy movie. The second one was a weird, nonsensical science fiction movie. This series isn't making a lot of sense.
You mean by the first one, right?
Well, like the first one is fantasy, but the second one, they're aliens
weird.
from another planet. They're hoverboards, and we have to fix the ozone.
Yeah, they just gave up.
Sean Connery's back because of contractual obligations.
Yes, and he's still a Spanish man with a very, very, very
Spanish
thick accent of a Scottish brogue.
Yeah,
like
that's the weird thing. Christopher Lambert's French, and he plays the Scottish guy.
I think he's Belgian as well.
Yeah, he's from Belgium.
Close enough.
Another one for the youngins that holds up to today is the Dark Crystal, but I think they are redoing the Dark Crystal as well.
Yeah, I think that's gotten a lot more attention in recent years. I think that's kind of one of those.
If you haven't seen the original Jim Henson version, I do recommend excited. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's good to get that sort of anchor before going into the new one because I'm kind of excited
Just
to see what they do with
recently
it.
in select theaters, the original got
re-released
re-released.
it? Okay, cool,
In
yeah.
select theaters.
I've seen bits of it. I've never seen the movie all the way through, just bits of it. I've got it on TV, but it didn't do well. I know when it first came out.
No, which
Jim
is
Henson
sad.
never wanted to do stuff that wasn't just kiddie oriented stuff. He really wanted to branch out a bit, and unfortunately, that didn't do well enough to really let him do that.
Luckily, it kept a cult following through the years.
I mean, there's
It's been-
references to it in like South Park, and a lot of people like Dark Crystal.
It is fantastic. It's one of the best movies ever. Another good one would be Labyrinth, if they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Who has? Yeah.
Just
Were you not
prepare
growing up in
yourself.
the '80s and being horribly traumatized inadvertently by David Bowie?
Yeah. Just prepare yourself
I
for
have-
the tight pants
Yeah.
that David Bowie
But
wears.
that was
Well,
the 80s, though.
He could
Pants-
totally pursue that teenage girl, and that wasn't
That
creepy.
I know.
crotch shot was every hair metal frontman's
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I
dream.
suppose.
It was just 80s hair metal, the movie with puppets.
Except for the ones that were silly enough and both at the same time cod
Odd piece enough?
weird enough to wear a cod piece. Like those are the ones I kind of was like, thank you for wearing the cod piece, and I don't have to see whether or not you're circumcised.
Do you remember the old rumors where Axl Rose used to have socks down his spandex just to make it look bigger?
Oh, Axel, that's kind of sad.
But like they all wore spandex back then, so it wasn't so weird in the 80s.
No, back
actually.
in the 80s, just every kid's movie was designed to just toughen you up.
There's always that one band that had the really dumb drummer that stuffed cucumbers down his pants, but he put them in the back.
Anyway,
Another cool show.
Okay, go ahead.
Is The Magicians.
Magicians.
The Magicians.
Oh, a television show.
Yeah,
A
it's
modern
actually really
television
good.
show.
I'm really liking The Magicians. It's very changeling.
Yeah?
Very changeling. It's very good. Basically, as well, anything else that you want to see that's changeling or just fantasy and amazing is any movie that is a Neil Gaiman movie. I love Neil Gaiman.
Stardust was good. I saw that.
Almost all.
I just finished the book today.
Oh, cool. What'd you think of it?
Want to see some amazing Changeling-esque type stuff? You can sit down and watch anything by Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Pretty much Spirited Away,
Everything.
Princess Mononoke, Howl's
I
Moving
suppose,
Castle.
yeah. Very fantasy.
Princess Mononoke, whose
seen that.
screenplay was written by Neil Gaiman.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That man's everywhere.
Yeah,
He
he is. He's very.
He's all things.
Yeah, all things, and
All things, all people. Just a leathered up Englishman who writes about elves and death.
the Queen of Melanosia and
Queen of
wolves coming out
Melanosia.
from the walls.
The wolves in the
'Cause when they come
walls.
out from the walls,
It's all over.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
They'd probably eat you.
Yeah.
What was the other show you were going to say?
One that we have to finish, we never did, which is severely funny, is Gallivant.
Yeah, Gallivant's great. It's a ABC thing that I think it got canceled. There was one episode that had Weird Al in it.
Oh, really?
He had other monks with him. He was a monk, like a friar monk.
Okay.
And all the songs that it's a musical thing.
It's a
So all
musical.
the
Oh,
songs
okay.
that he did were like monk doo-wop barbershop type stuff. It
Yeah.
was fucking hilarious.
It's basically, and you should watch this movie too. It's basically Robin Hood Men in Tights, the TV show.
Okay.
Yeah,
is
it's
what
got
it
that same
is.
kind of sense of humor. It does not take itself seriously, but sometimes it takes itself too seriously when it needs to.
Okay.
Really, really funny.
Really funny. Too
be
bad it
good.
got canceled. I think that's why we kind of got discouraged and stopped watching, but we should finish it because it's
Speaking
funny.
of the Neverending Story,
Yes.
because some of the young ones have not seen the Neverending Story, I thought it would be good that we may do for our Patreon members, us watching the Neverending Story while we have mics in front of us commenting on it, and they can then sync it up with the Neverending Story and just be horrified.
Yeah, our own commentary track would be fun for the Patreon members.
I think we will end up doing that.
It's a classic movie, and we're going to ruin the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna break it.
Listen
We
to us
should, yeah.
babble
We
on.
might do this more if we have fun doing it, number
Yeah.
one. Or if the Patreons really do like it, then I think we should ruin the shit out of a lot of our classic movies we loved as kids.
Ben-Hur, all 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Oh god. Fucking Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh,
my
God. We have
I
to do
hate
Lawrence. You hate that movie, don't you? With a
I
massive passion. We
fucking
have
Why
to
don't
do
we
Lawrence
have
of Arabia.
fun and do the original Ghostbusters sometime and point out all the terrible references that are in there that most people probably didn't see?
We could do that.
Crap.
You never know.
You know.
And Tim has an odd collection of very, very, very shitty but amazingly shitty movies like
yeah.
Chatterbox.
Chatterbox is a weird one.
Yeah, where a girl's vagina
Start
gains
stalking.
the ability to talk.
They would finance any kind of movie in the 70s,
oh yeah,
apparently.
70s. It was just.
And it might be
whatever we
fun
could imagine.
to do some commenting on some asylum horror films.
We could do that. Some of those asylum ones are not so bad, but some of them are pretty shitty.
Oh,
But
you guys are
mostly
no
shitty.
fun.
Zombieverse
Mostly shitty.
is a good romp, and so is
I like Zombies. I liked Zombies. It was great. Zombieverse was good. You loved Black Sheep. Black
Yeah.
Sheep was fantastic.
It wasn't an asylum though. It was a.
I'm pretty sure it was.
It was a
Another New Zealand one.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
You make the best horror movies. I love you. Just saying. Deathgasm was one of my favorite. Was it just called Zombies? or Undead.
Yeah, I
was
think
one
it
of
was
the
called
first.
Undead.
Remember the dude with the overalls and the triple barrel shotgun?
Yeah.
And then the aliens. Yeah. Undead, it's called.
We'll try and find a copy somewhere of Undead, and we'll watch it with you, and we'll record your reaction to this Tim reaction video too.
Ooh.
We better make sure we don't get sued by arseholes.
Trying to protect their copyrighted material.
Yes,
But anyway,
you can't
back
copy-
to
okay.
paper RPGs. We got off track here. But yeah, Changeling
So-
stuff. Yeah, I like anything Changeling.
Yeah, Changeling is good stuff. I like Changeling, but
Part of the
now
world of-
what I think we will like. Does everyone have their homework done?
Of course I do. I always have
I
my homework
actually
done.
haven't done this week. Yeah.
Homework for this episode came from Cale Brideau and was mentioned at the end of the last episode. Cale is CrazyKitsune on YouTube. You can check out his channel through the link in the description. So let's see what homework Cale had for us today. Choose a superhero, give it a bizarre / hilarious drawback, write them down and put all such slips of paper in a hat, draw at random, create a superhero or supervillain, give it a backstory, and invent a nemesis for them. And to figure out who goes first, roll initiative.
Oh God, what kind of dice?
Never mind. Actually, I
No.
don't have the 10-sided dice out.
Got my hopes up.
I forgot Nemesis.
I came up with nemesis. So as usual, our homework's kind of scattered about
Yeah.
what we were supposed to do.
And you
We
went
drew a
and
bunch.
did, yeah.
You had us draw a bunch. So I drew 5, and then
You
I
did
kind
them all.
of forgot the parameters, and I didn't bother calling you to ask. But I remembered like we already had the powers. We came up with a whole bunch of the powers and the flaws. Put those in a hat and drew as the rule said. The only thing I remembered was name and nemesis. So I did that for all 5 of the ones I drew. So I'll just go first, I guess. I'm already hammering on.
He just takes it from you. He just steals it.
I'm just gonna steal it. I reached right over and I grabbed
No,
it.
I
took it
totally
away.
spaced. I forgot that I was supposed to add a nemesis too.
Okay, you think about a
I
nemesis
have a
while he
whole
tells it.
backstory and where they
if you
fit
got a whole
in.
if you got a whole big backstory and everything, you don't have to have nemesis. I have no backstory
No.
and I just have nemesis.
This is not a superhero that lends too much of a nemesis anyway.
there you
But you'll
go.
understand when you
Yes,
get the
but
backstory.
we'll get to my
All right, go.
stuff. Okay, so first up, the power of this hero is they are a master of 6 martial arts.
Okay.
Taekwondo or kung fu or jujitsu or whatnot. The masters got like 6 of them, but they're quadriplegic.
Yeah.
Now their name is the Immovable Fist. And for their enemy, I figured their nemesis would be some kind of like mass murderer, someone they have to stop. And this mass murderer is blind, deaf, and dumb. And goes by the name of Helen Killer.
Helen Killer. Oh my God.
Helen Killer.
Oh,
The next
no.
one.
We were talking about that when we were saying his arch nemesis would be a guy who can take any access ramp and turn it into stairs.
The Carpenter.
The carpenter.
The next one I got for a power, this is the one you came up with. You have mind control. You can like Professor X a motherfucker and take control of their mind and control them. However, the victim you do this to immediately learns all of your deepest, darkest secrets, all of your worst, everything you don't want people to know about you. So I struggle with the name of this guy. So I thought he would be named Open Mind.
Okay.
Because his mind is basically open to you, and he's going to really want you to be open-minded. He'd be like, hey, come on, man. Everyone's into like dwarf scat porn. You know, just open up to it, man. Just explore.
So what
Everyone has ideas like that about Puerto Rican people. You don't have to judge me. Just
Jesus.
I just figured his maybe not necessarily a nemesis, but his nemesis is more of a concept, and that is blackmail.
Okay.
As that's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, I suppose just an esoteric concept of blackmail.
Yeah.
Is his
Or
nemesis.
alternately, it could be a rogue African American mail carrier. Either one.
Blackmail.
Or if you want to go with the fact that this individual has horrible dark secrets he doesn't want to know. Maybe he just doesn't like black men. Could be.
It could be.
If he's a horrible person.
Probably.
He could be. He's controlling people's minds and taking them over.
I
Probably not a
suppose.
nice guy.
Maybe he's a villain, not a hero.
Exactly.
But then again, Professor Xavier could control people's minds and
Yeah,
take
but
them
so
over,
could,
but he was
Purple
a
Man.
goodish person.
Purple Man wasn't.
Who's Purple Man?
Jessica Jones.
Oh, we haven't watched enough of Jessica
Okay,
Jones.
neither have I, but I do know the gist. He's basically like Professor X, but a horrible, evil dick.
Mind Taker.
He's played by Doctor Who, or one of them anyway. Right, back
Mind
on track
Taker.
on my horrible, offensive tangent. All right, you have the power of invulnerability. You cannot be harmed. However, you have an extremely low pain threshold. This character is named the Iron Sob,
The Iron Sob.
and I figured their nemesis would be the Pain Train, some sort of mecha-based fetishist. You just wail on this guy all day long, feel all the pain, everything, but it's not going to hurt him, so get those nipple clamps out.
Always with the nipple clamps.
Yeah.
Gotta have a hobby.
Yeah. I do, but I'm not very original because going back to nipple clamps. So the next one was Extreme Charm.
Okay.
Extremely charming. You can almost Jedi mind trick people into like, oh, put that gun down.
Yep.
Don't do those crimes, but you have monstrously bad breath.
Okay.
Like horribly bad breath.
Yeah.
Like 6 dead cats in a dumpster behind a Taco Bell in July bad breath.
Okay.
So I decided to
At
call
high noon.
the name I came up with for this character was the Captivating Hurl. 'Cause that's probably what someone will be doing in breath range. And I figured that their nemesis would just be dating.
Yeah.
Probably be a
Speed
massive
dating.
problem.
See them from across the room and go,
Yeah, that's the thing. Across the room, if
oh
you're
my God, would you look at that vision?
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to go talk to her.
He's
You
so-
walk over and you're just like, hey, how are...
Yeah, oh, that face. And the last one I had was you can fly. You can fly, but you have an extreme fear of heights.
Yeah.
I used the name Nosedive. I figured the nemesis would be the king of the mole people. He's not going to be very high. You're not going to be going after the Sky King or anything. You're going to go with low ground.
Yeah.
But while I was doing that, I came up with an alternate one. You can fly, but you have irritable bowel syndrome. It's called the pigeon. And there, that's my homework done.
Or the seagull.
Or the seagull. Yeah, if you're more like nautical.
Yeah. Beach chicken.
All right. What do we want to do first? What the powers are first? Or
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
However you would like to do this.
okay, we've got Veronica Ronnie Goldstein.
Okay.
She's an optometrist or optics researcher.
Okay.
So while working on her new laser treatment for glaucoma, she slipped and fell. During the fall, the experimental laser was bumped, causing it to briefly hit her eyes. Upon
good.
awakening from her surgery, she found out she had x-ray vision at will. But when not active, she's incredibly nearsighted. So she's got super thick, like bottle-sized
Coke bottle
glasses.
glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Super clumsy, totally nerdy. I figured she'd be the type that they leave at the lab, kind of like the Oracle kind. She's used for analysis.
Yeah.
Because
Sit back and
otherwise,
work on that
and
computer.
I just came up with her nemesis would be signs. Just
Distance.
signs in the distance. She can't read them.
Is that the men's or the... they both have stalls.
And what I called
Oh,
her
yeah.
was optic nerve.
Nice.
But if you'd like to see some of the other ones I drew from the hat, maybe
Okay.
you guys can come up with some ideas. Or do you want to wait and do yours first, and then we'll
Yeah, do yours first, and we'll say the ones we never.
We'll say the ones that never got used.
wax poetic on the other ones after?
My power/drawback combo was you can make multiple copies of yourself, but they all hate you.
Yeah.
And I just wrote like a little story about this guy, basically the backstory to get everything figured out. Though once he was called Dr. Irvine Pennyweather, he is now called Balance by the people of the city, and dipshit, asshat, or cunt nugget by his clones. He gained this power while working as a physicist, trying to unlock the secrets of quantum entanglement, a machine that was built by him and his team to hopefully harness the powers of quantum entanglement, allowing communication and matter transfer between two particles contained within separate fields 3 kilometers apart, malfunctioned and turned on while he was making final adjustments in one of the containment chambers. He existed in both chambers at the same time, but the entanglements were not exactly the same. The second copy did not get some of the emotional processes the original had, most importantly, compassion. Because the machine had to be manually shut down to save his life, in that moment, the secondary entanglement learned resentment and hatred for the main entanglement.
Oh dear.
He can't control when the entanglements show up or how many, but they usually show up just as he's about to accomplish a major goal to stamp out his progress. Knowing that without compassion, the entanglements would be a force of great evil. To be able to keep them from committing atrocities, he has aligned himself with the villains of the city. To be able to do anything positive with his life, he has to be a force of evil, knowing that the evil would soon be rectified and surpassed by his entanglements. It's for this reason that the heroes and villains of the cities both shun and hate him, making him utterly alone in this world.
Interesting and very depressing.
So he's his own nemesis.
yes.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Very psychological.
I know.
Fear of success. Manifest.
Yeah.
You went down the rabbit hole. for
Yeah,
that
you
one.
went really deep with that, man.
I did.
Very good.
Do you want to take the blue pill or would you rather have the red pill? And I looked at it and went, well, the blue pill is Viagra. The red pill is Cialis. So either way, I'm getting laid. I don't care.
So here's some of the ones we didn't use. I don't know if maybe you guys can come up with a name.
Okay, let's see if we can come up with names for
So
them.
this one is you can steal other people's powers, but you also get any illnesses, bad habits, or flaws.
You can steal their powers, but you get illnesses, bad
Powers,
habits,
flaws,
or
stuff like that.
flaws.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Copycat. Thief. I'm just going through very random, like stealing power related names.
Just stream of consciousness.
Stream of
things.
consciousness stuff. Might have done something.
Space
Muffin.
vagina,
Space vagina.
muffin thief,
Gravel.
duck umbrella,
Oak tree.
Grabula.
sandwich slapper.
Grabula.
Grabula. Grabzilla.
Grabzilla.
Because you get their power, but you also get their
Monstrous
shittiness.
power. Grabenstein.
Gravenstein. There you go. Something like that. Next one is you got super speed, but you also have extreme motion sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah. super speed, but you get extremely motion sickness while you're running.
That goes back to us watching the new Baywatch movie the other day, and I think that guy's name would be Vomit Comet.
Vomit Comet,
yes,
that would be great.
But it would be a much more intense Vomit Comet. It would just be this.
It would just be like knocking out windshields and shit.
Yeah, as he ran by, there would just be this floating cloud of hurl, because it would end up being like,
oh no,
almost atomized at that speed and turn into an aerosol of vomit.
Maybe able to use it as a projectile weapon.
Yeah,
go at the right speed.
You go around them in a circle and make a hurl-nado.
Yeah,
hurl-nado. God,
another possible name.
Our next superhero has super strength, but brittle bone disease as well.
Snap.
Snap. Oh my God.
Lou Ferrigno. I don't know.
Coming up with superhero names is hard.
Okay, well, shelve that one. And the last one is our favorite. You have radiation control, but you're also riddled with cancer.
Look at the page and see which ones I didn't pick.
Okay. The other ones were... You can shoot webs, but only out of your butt.
Yes.
Which is anatomically correct. You can grow to enormous size, but it only affects your head.
Heed.
Your head. Feed, invisible fly. You can
noggin.
You can communicate with animal, but you cannot communicate with humans at all.
Doctor do very little.
And I think that's just about it.
No, actually, I created, after the fact, I came up, like, after we'd already dished them all out.
Okay.
I came up with 2 more that are just dumb. You can glow brightly, but only in direct sunlight. And you can see the future, but only of Brad Wilcox from Rib Lake, Wisconsin. Now, there is a town named Rib Lake, Wisconsin.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a dude there named Brad Wilcox, but if there is, his mind just got fucking blown.
There's a man who knows your entire future. Oh my God, Brad's going to overpay for that car.
And I had made, back in the day, actually a character that was very similar to...
Martial artist?
The martial artist who was a paraplegic, which was...
Quadriplegic. Punch.
He was the Mechanist. And the Mechanist before, there was a Fallout 4 Mechanist. And he basically was... I don't know if he was paraplegic or quadriplegic.
I want to say para.
I think he was...
just his legs didn't work.
Yeah, I think he was para. He was a gadgeteer, so...
Meaning he could construct fantastic devices.
So he just made himself an exoskeleton.
There you go.
That let him...
What you do.
It was pretty cool. I'm actually looking at the actual Brave New World.
Like if you combine Tony Stark and Professor X without any of the psychic stuff.
Yeah.
Or possibly the baldness. I don't know if he had hair or not.
Well, probably did. Maybe. Who knows?
Well, I think you made him.
Oh, yes, he did.
Touche.
Touch in French. Touche. So are there any characters that you had that you really liked or really, really hated? You rolled something and you were like, this one sucks ass.
Let's start with your Fomori.
Yeah. Start with your character.
My Fomori. Okay, so when you're building a Fomori out of the book.
What is a Fomori?
A Fomori is a creature of the worm. Usually they're made from like toxic waste or balefire or things like that. They're corrupted in some way, and that corruption gives them weird powers and mutations.
And this is something from the werewolf game from World of Darkness.
It's a werewolf thing.
Because the werewolves are basically the most hardcore earth hippies you will ever meet.
Weren't they made by Pentex?
Yeah, they were made by Pentex.
Well, they existed before Pentex, didn't they? Because they existed in the Wild West.
Yeah, they did. They existed just in the worm in general, and they were just corruption, and later on in Pentex type things, I believe that's when the toxic waste and stuff like that and radiation comes
Processed
into it
foods
more. Yeah, whatever the hell squeeze cheese is.
Yeah, that probably makes into some kind of horrible death mutant.
Oh yeah, but the weird thing with this book was that unlike the other World of Darkness books, this one, when you made the character, you rolled on a table.
Okay.
For pretty much everything, you rolled a percentile dice because
your mutations were all weirdly random or something?
Mutations and stuff like that. I just ended up rolling this NPC that ended up being so ridiculously powerful because I set up my rolls are horrible. This is the one time they were all just fucking spot on, and I just won at life.
Stars aligned.
I got things like balefire, which the balefire, if you were a werewolf or some whatever you were, if you attacked them, you took damage, and it was aggravated damage from attacking them. But also to make me even more of a dick, I gave him a full silver like chainmail kind of thing, where if you attacked him again, you're getting even more aggravated damage just for attacking him. Yeah. And then all of the different abilities that he got from the different rolls. Sometimes it was roll again twice, and I think I got that like 2 or 3 times where I had to roll again twice, and I got extra abilities for him, and he was just fucking wrong. And then he
had those porcupine spikes that were dripping with chemical acid that would give aggravated damage. Like, it was a werewolf's worst nightmare.
Okay.
It took out our party of 4 werewolves plus 3 NPC werewolves with us alone. And you were even like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It's just like every time that you hit this guy, I think it was worse depending on how hard you hit him.
Okay, so you really
would
should have
get-
just shot him.
Yeah, you would get aggravated damage just from the act of attacking him. And I think it was
Okay.
like 4 to 5 points of aggravated damage.
Okay, and aggravated damage is damage that the werewolves can't really heal.
They can't
because they
heal
have
right
like
away.
a
They
crazy
can't
healing
soil.
factor in the game.
Yeah.
But anything aggravated, the supernaturals can't. Well, it would probably kill humans right away, but
Yes.
it would not be
Werewolves and
healable.
vampires can't heal it as quickly as they normally could.
has to be healed over
sunlight is
time.
aggravated damage to vampires. I believe.
Basically, once you got your certain max aggravated damage, you were officially dead as a
Yeah, like
supernatural.
you're gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, like probably about 70% of that character was just amazing rolls, and the other
Yeah, but you
30%
see, the
of how it was
problem
bad
was,
was
Tim,
dickish picking of things.
It was a group of werewolves. Don't generally carry guns.
No, they're
We had
kinda-
our
They
glaives.
go all weirdly.
We had our claws and we had our glaives.
That's why they'll never win.
And now I really wish we had guns. When I think about
But
it.
you should use
That
guns.
character was ridiculous.
He was like shelved. You're going to be a nemesis someday. And on the shelf he went.
Sometime we were playing some World of Darkness. And I think it was a werewolf or something. There was a dude who made a werewolf.
Yeah.
He had like the whole emo look to him. A little more emo with that, with the werewolf trench coat and like had 2 handguns and that. Would not change into a werewolf in combat. Because the way, like for World of Darkness, I'll explain here. Werewolves, you got like, you got your human form, and you can go into a wolf form. And then in between is this giant 8-foot tall, rip someone in half like a phone book wolf monster thing.
Yeah, it kind
And
of
that's
went
kind of their
at-
big attack thing.
At one side of it, actually, hold on a second. I will make your day way better.
There's Kronos is the big one. There's your human
Kronos
form.
is
There's
the big
your
one, yeah.
there's one that makes you look kind of like Wolverine.
There's Hispo, there's Galbro, there's
They all have
Lupin.
weird names. You got human, slightly hairier human, big giant wolf monster, big monstrous wolf, and then wolf.
Yeah.
So there's
That's pretty
a
much
bunch of
how it
different
goes.
forms you could take.
If you were a wolf.
Yeah. But this guy was very committed to the theme and look of his character, that he would not, for the most part, would not change into a full werewolf. But it really would have been advantageous to do that.
Why didn't he just like get the costume fitted to his werewolf?
They could have. Or you could have made a different type of character, because I don't think it was just werewolves they were playing. I think it was one of the mashup kind of World of Darkness, where you got some vampires sprinkled in with some werewolves and all that. Could have chosen another type.
For those who don't know, werewolves can have clothes specifically what's called fetid to them in a ritual, so that when they change, the clothes goes with them. They don't lose. They don't end up naked.
Yeah.
So if this guy's clothes was that important, he could have had it fetid. Actually, he could have had it so that it would grow with him in his
like the Hulk's
in his
pants.
Cronus form. He could have been a giant werewolf
Wearing a
in
trench
chaps, a trench coat, and a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
He missed a golden opportunity there.
To be the
Ah,
best gay werewolf cowboy out there.
I found it. So Hamid,
Oh,
which
it's
was
your
no
human
change, difficulty of 6 to go into a Hamid form,
Ooh.
which you're probably already in sometimes. Who knows?
Who knows?
Galbro. So Galbro was like, I would say kind of you're slightly a furry.
You're a little more like Wolverine.
Yeah.
You're like a little bigger and a little hairier.
Yeah, you got +2 strength, +2 stamina, -1 appearance, and -1 manipulation. It was a difficulty of 7 to get into.
Or if you played with furry people, they would say Galbro would just give you ears and a tail.
Yes.
I guess.
There was Krynos.
That's my
which-
favorite.
Strength of +4, dexterity +1, stamina +3, an appearance of straight up fucking 0, manipulation of -3, dexterity of 6 to get into this form. It incites delirium in humans. Pretty
That's
cool.
your big giant wolf monster.
Then
That's your
past that, you got Hispo, which is going the other side of it. You're going from Krynos and you're starting to go to the wolf form.
Yeah. You're a
So
big giant wolf.
Yeah, you're basically like American Werewolf in London, /
yes,
Paris
yeah.
type creature, and then you end up as Lupus, which is
just a
a
wolf. Regular
Just a
wolf.
Running around, doing wolf things, peeing on things, eating deer,
Growing other wolves.
I guess.
Any characters you guys had really liked, really hated, didn't like?
I didn't like that Swordmaster guy because he couldn't hit anything. He was irritating.
Yeah,
That was just due to bad rolls. There have been other characters I guess I made. I just couldn't get into I couldn't come up with a decent character concept, so I never really got into them, and that's usually when I made another character. Usually early on in a game, if it's a game you've played for the first time.
yeah.
You don't really know what kind of character you want to make. You kind of make, I'll make this. And sometimes it works out and you can make a character you really like.
You like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hate it.
Yeah. Like I made,
I can't say I played with a lot of consistent groups in a sense where we played the same system a lot, so we didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to play the same characters over and over a lot. Probably my werewolf Maya is my most memorable. she's still developing, so I can't really give you much info about her because her character's still in development. She's still being played, and there's still stuff about her I don't even know.
Any characters I played that I don't really remember are like that I didn't like are probably ones I also just didn't remember because I played them once.
Well,
and I was like, I don't like this. You tend not to remember those.
Yeah.
What about your longest used character? Your most used character?
Easily the bounty hunter I have for Star Wars.
Yeah.
98, I think, is when I made that character. I think I can get it down to about that time. Sometime between 97 and 90. It was late 90s, post high school.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me for my time mage from World of Darkness mage game called Xavier Q Townsend, which I believe...
The most pretentious game of all.
I believe it was like 97, 98 or whatever when I made that character too, and I played it for years and years and years and years. And years.
He's still in development as well.
You would have been. Your werewolf.
My werewolf, yeah. And you did have a memorable character. I remember you had a really cool changeling.
Scream.
I remember Scream was a really cool character.
Yeah,
he was one of those pale, icky guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he talked because they don't talk very loud.
No.
Yeah.
So his name was ironic.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
What were they called?
I think the
Slua, yeah. That's what they were. Yeah.
I think at the same time too, though, he was a metal singer.
I think something like that.
And he would just cup the mic. And he had like the Danny Filth type voice where he sounds like he's trying to channel Satan himself into a microphone.
You also had, what were the really violent changelings? The changeling game World of Darkness.
The red caps.
Yes. It's the really fantasy, more lighthearted part of the World of Darkness White Wolf stuff. There's like satyrs and sluas and pukas and other things with weird names and
trolls.
Everything. Trolls.
Well, changeling, as you know, is based on actual Fae lore from Ireland and the Celtic Fae. You could say it's lighthearted, but I would beg to differ. It's actually quite dark.
Yeah, it depends on how you play. But I mean, the art style, certainly in the books, was a lot more kind of colorful in that.
Yeah. And if Roy happens to listen to that, not that kind of bogan, not an ocker. It's a completely different thing. It's a creature. It's a creature who bogans and ockers are like, I think they're kind of like what they call hillbillies in
rednecks.
Australia. Rednecks and hillbillies in
They're
Australia.
basically the version of redneck.
Yeah.
Red caps I always thought were fun.
Yeah, you made a red cap. He was a gang member or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, you could eat metal and stuff like that.
Yeah, they could eat all kinds of crazy stuff.
Weird.
I had
Nifty,
a
though.
Slua once as well. I don't remember much about it.
The first one I made was a puka. There were ones with animal ears and that.
They shapeshift.
And they can't tell that they're like compulsive liars, if I remember correctly. I only used the character once and then I made something else.
No, I think they were kleptomaniacs.
No, I think it was like they tend to exaggerate. Like they can't really tell something straight. They can't say, I went to the store. They go, well, I left the house and this happened. I met Ronald Reagan and then I went, you'd have to kind of suss out what's actually truthful and what is just fantastical bullshit.
That's true. Yeah, they are compulsive liars.
Yeah,
I also really love satyrs.
Yeah.
From Changeling. They're fantastic.
Yes, I think that's the character I had for the longest time for that.
I had a character for a long time too. It was Tom that ended up in our World of Darkness games that Heather and I had. He was a satyr, of course, a musician. He was a famous musician. So he was always just on the brink of holding back a concert from turning into an orgy.
Because they can do that.
They can. But I want to bring up one more thing while we're still in work at World of Darkness because it's the thing I noticed best.
Yeah.
Back to werewolf. Let's talk about the other weres.
Yeah, there are like werecats and
the bast.
Yeah, okay.
They were called the bast, the werecats. You know me, I love anything cat. Werecats I thought cool. And the corvids I thought were cool. The were-ravens, they were susceptible to gold instead of silver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got real bad shiny. They saw shiny. They got real bad.
I think the werecats should have had like a flaw where when they do initiative, they have to decide whether or not they want to use their turn to attack somebody or push something off a table.
Or they have a flaw where if they see anything that looks like a string, like they're gone. That's it. The red light is their biggest nemesis. But can I just say, I was never a fan of, what were they called? The Rokia, the fucking weresharks. I'm sorry, weresharks. I don't
They show up again in Brave New World has weresharks.
Why weresharks?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's
scary.
Wouldn't it be better to have were alligators or were crocodiles instead of weresharks? That would at least make more sense.
I think that goes back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Weregator.
That's where people probably get the inspiration for the weresharks is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There was a shark. I think in later comic books that were based a little more on the cartoon show. I think there was a shark character in it.
Yeah, there was.
Okay, named Armageddon because he was in a fighting game. He was in a Super Nintendo Ninja Turtles fighting game.
Ooh.
I remember that, weirdly enough.
Very good.
But so there was also in World of Darkness, there was the werebears.
Yeah, you always have werebears.
We ran into them before. They were cool. I love the Ananasi. the were spiders. I
Yeah.
thought
Ooh.
they were cool because they were cool where they had their Krynos, which was awesome, which
Yeah.
is basically your torso of the person, and then you got the abdomen of the spider, and then you've also
That's
got 8 eyes,
horrifying.
which is like just horrifying. I loved it. But then it was their spider form where they could just transform into a horde of spiders.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, like
Kind of
just
like
a whole.
how vampires meld with shadow or turn into dirt.
mist
Kind of the
or
same
something.
thing with the
Rats.
Naga, which were the were snakes.
Yeah.
That form they could turn into a ball of snakes and just all slither off.
Big snake ball.
And in order to kill them, you had to kill the whole swarm. Like they
Called
could
a
get away.
breeding ball.
They could get away with if someone killed a few of the swarm, they
Yeah.
would still get away without too much trouble. So that was cool. I really like the Naga too.
Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah.
I liked them a lot. We played a lot of World of Darkness.
We have it's still, as I said, still my favorite system. I like the aesthetic of it, just because I'm a horror movie fan and I love werewolves.
Really the aesthetic of the world. They do for some of the World of Darkness stuff. They did stuff not in the modern era, like they did a vampire game in the Dark Ages. They did a werewolf one in the Wild West.
Yeah.
I think they did.
I never really
they did one in
played
the
a lot of Dark
Renaissance, did they
Ages.
not? We did a
Yeah, that
bit.
was
I have the
Mage.
book at home. Yeah, it was Mage in the Renaissance.
We have it right there.
Oh yes, there it is.
They by the Dark
Hello,
Ages.
book. But that has really kick-ass art in it. Very good art for a dark
Yeah.
medieval kind of that. They did very good with a lot of their art direction for a lot of the World of Darkness stuff, I find. Because if you look at a lot of early, like some early D&D and that, not necessarily D&D, but other like cheaper supplement stuff for those games, artwork is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing with the Robotech RPG. There was the Kevin Long was an artist who did a lot of artwork for Palladium. He did a lot of stuff for Rifts and that. He was a very good artist. His people looked very samey, but he could do like machines, like robots and
Yeah, I
weapons and
remember.
vehicles very well. He kind of upped the game a little bit for some of the.
I
art in
remember
that
some
too.
of the glitter boys looked
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
what were they? The death heads or something?
Death Head, because the main bad guys in North America are a bunch of human supremacists that call themselves the Coalition States, a bunch of militarized human-only guys, and they have like this whole metal Death Head motif for all their military vehicles. And the first early armor looks really cool. It's all black, it's got spikes and shit. It's like something out of a death metal
Yeah, they're
album cover,
early
and all their
grindcore.
vehicles kind of all their.
But when I was saying like aesthetic of Werewolf and World of Darkness is I kind of like the modern day setting.
Yes.
I guess because I played a lot of D&D and I kind of beat that fantasy dead horse to death.
Yes, that's the thing.
that I really enjoy. Like even now when I play RPGs on like video game RPGs, I enjoy the ones that have a modern settings. But I like that, and I like the underworld aspect of it, where it's secret.
Yeah.
You've got everyone
All
else
this
going
stuff's
around.
happening and
All
you
this
don't
stuff's
know.
happening, but the world doesn't know. Plus, I absolutely adore anything Fae because it is just so screwed up.
Yeah.
Even in the legend, like the legends of the Fae from Celtic legends, like they have the Seelie and Unseelie court. That's a thing.
Yeah.
So all that court intrigue and that back and forth and that stabbing in the back and that. It's just that much better in Changeling than it
Yes.
is in Human. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
watching the Tutors, but with
There's a funny
special
little elf
powers. It's so
stand
cool.
having a knife right through.
I really enjoy that. And again, another aspect of Werewolf I loved was the whole Umbra.
Yeah, I was never as big on the spiritual stuff for the werewolf thing, going into the spirit realm and that.
Yeah, I read a bunch of
I
stuff
wasn't
about the
as
Umbra, and the
into it.
coolest part of it was you could almost get everything in there, like anything. Like
Yeah.
it was very, very versatile. There was a lot.
You and
of
I
areas
did a
in the
lot
Umbra.
of back and forth in the Umbra in our games. We actually found the entrance to Arcadia in the Umbra to get to the Changeling world, which was cool. The Worm is there, and then the Weavers too.
Yeah.
So we had fun
Like,
with
weavers
that.
are all like
'Cause-
technology and structure
Yeah,
and such,
if
aren't
you're a
they?
glasswalker, you deal a lot
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. They're pretty much like the replicators in SG1.
Scary, but I just like that kind of thing, that it's all
Yeah.
happening behind as everyone else does their daily thing. And I really like space RPGs too.
Space RPGs are good. I have
Again, because I'm done with the Dungeons and Dragons thing lately, so I've been loving Star Wars.
outside
things
of
like
Star Wars,
that.
I don't know. Oh no, wait! I played one made by the same people who made Twilight 2000 called Traveler, which I think is now that's bounced through a few companies. The company that made Twilight 2000 and its subsidiaries and Mythos and Traveler and that GDW closed down in the 90s when a lot of role-playing game companies were just poofing out of existence. I think Traveler's run by some different stuff. It's kind of a space opera-y kind of thing.
Okay.
Kind of deal. It's pretty good. Pretty good game. Space combat was ungodly complicated in the game. We were fairly determined that once we played it, we were never going to
So-
actually fight ship versus ship. It's way too
Along
much.
the same lines as we were talking about your favorite character, do you guys have like a favorite campaign or a game night or a story from a game night of some things that went horribly wrong or something that you'll never forget?
Yes.
Regale us with a telling, Tim.
Regale us with a tale.
This is a long time ago, so I can't remember all the details. I was playing it was a game with just me and Scott was game master and was changeling. I was using my satyr. And events occurred that resulted in a dragon basically stole my house.
Okay.
It basically tricked me out of my own house. Like this little fantasy dragon. Not like big, powerful, scary, smog dragon. More kind of less harmful looking dragon. Came up and was like, oh, I got kicked out of my place where I live. Can you help me with that? Because I can't do anything about it. I'm like, sure, I'll go do with that. Remember, there was a trip to City Hall. I think it was something to do with they were developing the area or something.
Okay.
So there's a trip to City Hall, try and settle this all legally, and that didn't really work out. So then I had to go rough up some dudes and that. It resulted escaping through the sewer, encountering some of those Nosferatu vampires, running away from them, and getting out and being all covered in smelly sewer crap. Going home and the stupid dragon and his dumbass friends locked me out of my own house.
Oh, no.
And then I had to deal with that. So, yeah. And I believe that also resulted in me losing my job. Then you can't go into work and say, look, I didn't show up again for my shift because not in game job, not my real life job. Just to clarify, you can't explain to your fictional boss, fictional creatures stole my home and that's why I had to show up late again. So it resulted in problems, but it was interesting.
That would result in a 72-hour hold.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of your character Tom's familiar. Sal, the little dragon with the really bad Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Again, like little things like that. High school, when I was playing D&D, was pretty bland. I mean, it was high school nerds. They weren't what you call super creative, so we had a lot of the reading the campaigns out of the book stuff. I do remember having an awesome game master, though. Well, at the time, I thought he was a dick, but now I'm thinking it was fun, where he'd have you roll saving throws for like strange things, like whether or not you threw up after running for half an hour.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Keep you on your toes.
Could be interesting.
A reading from the Book of Andy, entitled The Beginning of the End.
Our group had been playing World of Darkness games for a couple of years, and I loved this system. It's still to this day one of my favorite RPG systems. We had an RPG club that got together at the local community college where all manner of paper RPGs were played. A room with a few large tables that different groups would gather around. Towers of books precariously leaning, ready to topple at any moment. Game masters hidden behind screens, waging war against their closest friends. Bags of dice, stacks of printer paper to take notes on, probably liberated from a nearby copier. Pencil case upon pencil case, stuffed so full of implements of writing that you were not sure how the owner managed to get it closed. People playing multiple characters at the same time like someone's Nana on bingo night. However, one day, something was different. What once had looked like a 14th century monastery library was now stark. The denizens of this fantasy world were still in attendance, but the landscape was vastly different. Dice had been replaced with rune stones, books with decks upon decks of cards. The Planeswalker had arrived.
Jun, jun, jun.
Oh, walking on the plains, doing Planeswalker stuff.
Yeah.
Taylor went to the bathroom, now she's back again.
Back, having relieved herself bodily waste. Biology, it can be gross.
And what I wanted to say at the end of that is I remember the day that happened in my D&D club.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember the day the first deck of Magic cards showed up at my D&D club. And it was, as I said, the beginning of the end of my D&D club.
Magic came in,
Yeah.
snuffed it out.
And it all kind of went downhill too for us when, like, for a while,
Yes, it was happening. It was building up in high school.
Yeah.
I noticed it was going and like it kept taking over more and more tables. I'm
Yeah,
sitting there
it's
trying to
all-
eat lunch, and then it's like, come on, stop fucking playing your cards right
And then
now.
in that club too, it started taking up more and more tables until one day
the little
just,
gaming club that existed.
there was nobody kind of playing role-playing games
Yeah.
anymore.
No, literally
Maybe
the
so.
guy
It's a
who
new thing.
came in with the deck of Magic cards actually told the whole club, like, D&D's over. This is it now.
Oh, this
he
is the new hot thing.
seriously did.
That all the
I'm
sexy
not
people
joking.
are doing.
I know the guy's
Get rid of your
name. too.
books.
He was presumptuous.
Yes.
No, he was
tossed into the nearest fire.
also the same guy who cried when his favorite character
Oh,
was
that's
killed.
why he had something. He was
But,
going to tear this down.
Oh yeah.
No, but yeah, he came in proclaiming that D&D was passe. It was so 1980, and the 90s is all about Magic the Gathering.
It's all about my Yu-Gi-Oh card collection.
Cards.
It's all about my Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah.
And what makes us want to talk about this today is because suddenly our paper RPGs are making a resurgence.
Yeah, they're making a big comeback now, man.
Yeah.
Magic
We're
is
back.
done, and now we're back, and there's
Magic
new
isn't
ones.
done by far.
Oh, no.
No, but it's
But it's-
not.
There's
no
a
one cares
lot more
anymore.
game not
They've
more
learned to
card competition.
coexist
Yes.
in a world.
I have a slight interesting little addendum to that,
Ooh.
to the Magic card thing. Now,
Addend me.
we've mentioned a game called Mythos. Mythos is the game. TSR was the company that wound up making Dungeons & Dragons. Gary Gygax is one of the guys who co-created Dungeons & Dragons, and eventually he left TSR due to differences. He made another fantasy-style role-playing game made by GDW called Mythos.
Yeah.
And it was actually going to be a whole series of games using that basic system. There was going to be a modern day horror one that was called Unhallowed. It's mentioned in the Mythos book, but unfortunately, as I'll tell you why, it never got published.
They were all under the moniker of Dangerous Journeys.
Dangerous Journeys, correct. See, the problem is, however, the thing is, I guess the person running TSR, not a fan of Gary Gygax, part of the reason I guess he left.
Okay.
And originally Dangerous Journeys was going to be called Dangerous Dimensions because there's going to be all these different dimensions.
Okay.
And they went, oh, that's awful close initial wise to D&D. And he's making a fantasy thing.
Okay.
They used that and some other stuff as the pretext for a lawsuit. And they basically sued Mythos out of existence. Some stuff got published for it. It was a big civil suit that lasted for a few years and eventually it all got closed up. So they wound up, and this lawsuit wound up hurting TSR and GDW in the mid 90s when, as we were saying, role-playing games were kind of starting to lose some of their luster, and this eventually both companies tanked. Now, because this is Gary Gygax making a fantasy game, it had some attention to it, and there were going to be video games made of Mythos. You can see some of the ads in back of some of the Mythos books.
Yeah.
There was one going to go on the TurboGrafx 16, if anyone remembers that game system.
I do.
There was usually, every Radio Shack had one, if you can remember Radio Shack.
I had a friend who had it.
Yeah? It used discs.
I remember actually at the time we had been somehow managed to get a hold of an email address that would get to Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
And we were sending emails back and forth to him with him bitching to us about how much it sucked that TSR was fucking stealing everything on him.
Yes.
And
I
stuff like
imagine.
that.
Yeah, very.
It was a very weird thing. It's one of the few times I've actually had any kind of contact email wise or like
With someone.
speaking with somebody that is somewhat celebrity.
Yeah, someone.
And it was a very odd thing. We would get emails from him and he was just basically, I guess he had just extra time just to fucking
like people
bitch about
talk about like talking with him, stuff like that at conventions anyway. That's how I found out some of the backstory to the Mythos debacle. The game was also going to go on the Super Nintendo. So an actual system people bought. But anyway, once the lawsuit hit, all that got kind of canned. Now, I have a bunch of different supplement books for Mythos. That stuff I bought online of that. I found some stuff. In the back of one of those little supplement books is an ad for a new game that's coming out.
Okay.
Called Magic the Gathering. It's a brand new collectible card game.
Oh, shit.
And it's just coming out by this small little company called Wizards of the Coast.
Not so small anymore.
No, because the thing is, when TSR went kaput, guess who bought the rights to D&D? Wizards of the Coast. So they launched a frivolous lawsuit. I mean, by all accounts, frivolous lawsuit against Gary Gygax to kill a fantasy game he was making, and in doing so, helped to financially injure their company to the point where a non-role-playing game-based company came in and bought their property out from under them. Which means technically, Wizards of the Coast owns Mythos and all the other stuff related to the game. All the work he did on it. They're the ones who would have it now because he had to hand it all over to TSR, which now all belongs to Wizards of the Coast.
It's horrible.
Yes.
Mythos was complicated.
It was.
Everybody else has gone for a bathroom break. I got to take a
Okay,
crunch so
you
bad.
go take a massive crunch then. Talking about lawsuits and stuff. Interesting shit. Really interesting shit.
A little blander than usual this episode. But it's all true stuff. I mean, but I don't know. I hadn't really had any major memorable things that I can't remember anything. But I just had your stereotypical D&D groups.
When you play for so long, you've got so much games and campaigns and stuff. It just mashes together.
It does.
Like if you're like one of those people who played sports a lot when they were younger, you probably can't remember every ball game you played every summer or into high school and
well,
college.
I had like that one dude in the group that always had to play the drow.
Oh yeah.
And I had the one dude who always had to have the big tittied girl as his character and would try to do every male she came across, which was 90% of the NPCs in the damn game.
Yes.
That was annoying, especially being the only girl in the group.
Yeah.
Like,
what's that like?
What's that like?
Being the only girl. Any bad experiences? Any good experiences?
Terribly.
Because you hear, like, sometimes when you read stuff online, some gals have some issues. But the same, like, I know, like, we played with some different girls and that never seem to have any weird
Not really.
creeper
I'd
guys
say,
in the group.
I had a couple other girls in the group in some of my groups in high school. There's one main group I played with on the weekends at a friend's house was a guy, and it was mostly always guys. But I think they just saw me as one of the guys because I was kind of a tomboy growing up anyway, and I hung out with guys mostly growing up. Mm-hmm. I didn't like hanging out with other girls that much. Most of the guys I hung out with just looked at me as one of the other guys, so it wasn't anything weird. I wasn't hit on, or I wasn't sexist or anything. I mean,
they weren't trying to
These were nerds.
mess with your character for some weird
These were
reason. You're a
nerds
girl.
to shy nerds anyway. So
Yeah.
it's not like I was playing with a bunch of douchebag jocks that, only think about.
You're a girl. You have to go make me pie.
No, a lot of the people I played with in high school were too busy thinking about theorycraft than to think about vagina. So they would get way into like the theory behind everything and making their character. It was like a whole process. So except like one dude who'd come every now and then, who was the big titty dude who would always talk about sex, but you just kind of put up with him. He wasn't what you call sexist or harassment. He was just kind of a lot of really bad jokes. Really, that were stupid. Maybe funny for a 12-year-old boy, but at this point we were all 17, 16. So he kind of made the other guys roll their eyes too. So
I'm back now.
You're back.
I feel like I just had sex with a hill giant.
Oh, how
no, Tim was just asking me
possibly
what it was like
unpleasant.
to be one of the only girls in a group.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, most of the people I play with, we were friends outside, and I was just one of the guys. So it was never really
No big issue.
never an issue.
'Cause we had couple different girls played in our various groups, so no weird goings-ons.
Yeah.
We weren't all like,
Mythos-
get out, witch.
I remember when I got the Mythos books.
Yes,
We
because I think
started
you
trying
were
to
the one who got
decipher
them.
those. Yeah, I bought the first one, and I think
Yeah.
I don't know if I owned the first one and the magic one, and then somebody else
Yeah.
bought the Beastry.
There's Beastry. I
think you
have
own the
that
Beastry.
now.
Yeah,
So I
pretty-
brought it up early. We still haven't talked about Hole.
we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Why are we waiting for so long?
Oh, right
Because
now
it's going to
we're-
be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
We'll finish up with Mythos, then we'll jump right into that hole.
Oh,
Fist first, right into it.
Oh,
Boom.
fist first. No.
Pun.
Oh, bad.
But anyway, yes. And then there was a world book
Yeah.
that someone got. And then there was the first specific world book was on Egypt.
Yes.
Because the Mythos world is kind of like a weird approximation of ours. There's like Atlantis and continents are shaped a little different. Everything's got weird spelling.
But it was complicated as
To make the character. I've been rereading the books actually recently, and there's a lot of stuff I noticed we missed because I wouldn't say they're the best laid out book.
Wait, what? You had a weird look on your face.
He always has a weird look on his face.
I'm weird looking.
He looks like he's, just plotting something
I am.
You know what I
all
need?
the time.
Do we not have? We need a good pirate RPG. Somebody send us a tweet or post a message on our Facebook of a suggestion of a really good pirate RPG. I want to play a good pirate
I
RPG.
can't think of any of
You
that.
just want me to
offhand.
do my pirate voice like
Yes.
all the time.
You could make pirates and Mythos. It
Oh,
was
come
one of
on.
the
You
character
can't
class.
say that would not be fun.
Yeah.
A pirate RPG would be a lot of fun.
I would go full method with that.
Yeah.
I would go full on method with it. I'd be pirate all the time. I wouldn't be able to stop.
You'd go too deep. You'd go far too deep into it, and you'd just be pirate all the time.
Okay. It's she's requested that we speak about it 3 times now, maybe
Okay,
2,
so let's
3.
deal with Hole.
It's time. Hole.
Hole was
Human
also
occupied
made- yes.
landfill.
It was also made by White Wolf. Was
Yes.
it by Black Dog? It was a
Yeah, it was Black Dog.
offshoot company. Black Dog, yeah. Human Occupied Landfill. Spelled HOL.
So the actual book was, of course, you got copies of it that was photocopied, but originally the guys that made the book, the whole thing was handwritten
Yeah.
in like, probably like an inking type pen that you would use for a comic book. And
Yeah.
it was just fucking strange.
Very nice, very good artwork, very auto work. Basically, Hole is a prison planet where they just stick the worst assholes in the galaxy in.
Basically, yeah.
Run by CAO, the Confederation of Worlds.
And the Christian Church had a very strong presence in the game
Very much so.
with their Pagan Buster Parfait, a large cross-shaped bomb, I believe,
Yeah.
or something of that nature.
They had their missionaries looked like horrible assassins, and they were a very big for-profit organization. So the whole game was basically like a dark comedy type theme to it.
Yeah, and there was pre-made characters in there
Yes.
too, like
They didn't give you any
Hope
real
Man and
yeah.
Altar Boy,
Yes, there was
Father-
that one monk whose name I forget, but
Father Aristotle Studbasket.
and his power was he could summon like 4d6 children to him by making soft cooing noises.
And they were all named Timmy.
Yes, he called them all Timmy, even though they were different. He called them all Timmy. And there was a giant Hulk-like man whose mouth was sewn shut, and his name was.
I don't remember much. I just remember the Hug Me armor.
Yeah.
And I remember the Kitty Kitty Bang Bang.
Kitty Kitty Bang Bang.
That's all I
With
really
dynamite on them.
Cats with dynamite.
Yes,
No, I remember the booklet. Remember the booklet?
I remember
Yeah.
the
The
main
very
book.
center of the book was this little booklet.
Okay.
And it was about how to play a bit more about how to play the game. And it said in there to save the game.
Oh yes,
Pick up the phone and press 0 for the operator and tell her you would like to save the game.
It was how to play Hole as a LARP.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. And sadly, most kids won't get that now because the operator, what's that?
There's a lady on the phone who would help you
Make this
find
call.
numbers. Yeah, patch calls to.
Back before the internet.
Did it have rules to make your own character?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure of that. 'Cause I
Yeah,
just remember we always just used the
rules to
templates.
make our own characters.
Yeah.
I believe. I think we made our own characters.
I just used
remember.
Pope Man.
Okay.
I was dedicated to Pope Man. I just stayed with
I
him.
think it's because we didn't play it enough. I think we
Didn't play it a whole lot. We played a few sessions.
tried it out.
We did play a few sessions.
Yeah.
But no, there was what other characters? Elvis was one of the characters.
Oh yeah, Elvis was one of the characters.
He was just there somehow, still alive. There was a guy who was a werewolf, but when he changed, all that happened was his neck got really hairy. If I remember correctly. That's it. Just his neck would kind of bristle.
Here's another RPG games that you guys have played that you've told me about that you neglected to mention. It was Paranoia.
Yeah.
Yes,
you've
that's
never
another
played
comedy
Paranoia?
game.
I never got a
don't
chance
think
to
she
play
did.
Paranoia
No.
with you guys.
Paranoia was.
We only played it once or twice. I played it a few times because I played it at the club.
Yeah, I don't
And
remember the most about it, so you'll probably have to
It's
explain more. But I remember
like
something.
in a very Cold War, commie paranoia type thing. Everyone's living in this big underground dystopian city that's run by an all-knowing, all-powerful computer.
Mhm.
And the computer is always right. We don't ever make mistakes. Computer is always right.
And I remember you
And-
start off your game with you get a 6-pack of clones.
You have multiple lives like in a video game because you'll need them. And every single one of your players is part of a secret society. And it is absolutely forbidden on pain of death to be a member of a secret society. And every single one of your characters is a mutant that has some kind of power. And it's absolutely forbidden on pain of death to be a mutant. So you've got 2 strikes against you there because that you can't let anyone know about this.
Yeah.
And so you go off and try and survive in this insane world that is color coded. If you're only coded for, like, there's a ranking, goes like, I think, ultraviolet, red, then blue, then yellow, then green, or whatever. So if you're red, the next color up is blue. You can't touch anything blue. You want to go into that part of the city, and that part of the city's blue sector, you can't go in. If there's blue gas leaking into your room, you better hold your breath and run away from it because you're not authorized to touch it.
Yeah.
So it's an insane, fucked up, everything's broken down world. Everyone's paranoid about the communists on the surface.
And I remember it did make you paranoid of the other players.
Oh,
It
yeah,
did
because
make you
that's when we
paranoid of them.
started passing notes.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't want anyone else to know what to do because you don't know if you can trust any of the other players.
You couldn't.
No, because you don't know what they're trying to do. They might be trying to fuck you over because they know you're part of some secret society that they're against. And so they're going to go after you. Dun, dun, dun.
I think we pretty much covered all the games that we've played before. I can't think of any.
All the games we've played before.
No.
Told you I would do it. Damn it. So, out of all of them, I would say my 2 favorite would be World of Darkness and Star Wars. Are by far my 2 favorite games so far to play that I've played.
I don't know if I really I got a bunch of favorites, I guess. Like Star Wars, like the Twilight System, like aspects of Mythos. That's probably my favorite fantasy game.
Yeah, I like some of the aspects of Mythos
Yeah, it's
too.
good.
I found
Needs a
some of
little
them were
tweaking.
obtuse, but some of them are.
Yeah. The main problem with Mythos, sorry, was making the character was really the complicated hassle part. Once you got playing, it wasn't too bad. Just some percentage rolling to do.
Yeah.
I would say it has.
It wasn't horrible for once you
got
made
it.
it, but it took hours to make a character.
Yeah,
Jesus.
sometimes it's good until you got it nailed down. You had to roll 18 attributes.
Yeah.
You had to roll 18 attributes because you have 3 main attributes: your physical, your spiritual, and your mental. Each one of those has 2 sub attributes.
Yeah.
And each one of those has 3 sub attributes: a cap, a power, and a speed. And those are what you're rolling for.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So that's a total of 18.
Just having a sheet full of numbers written down,
Yeah.
trying to keep them straight.
Yeah, it's one of the systems where they started like a lot of early role playing games didn't have skills. Like I know early D&D didn't have any skills for your characters. You just basically cast spells or throw swung swords at people. This went a little overboard with skills, a lot of skills. And there's a lot of skills have sub skills, and the sheets were totally inadequate to hold all that information.
Do you remember the dwarf I made where we just stacked every piece of armor that we actually could, magically lightened it,
And then,
like as long as it just wasn't impossible for it to be put on there, just to make him into a giant tank of tankliness.
Because I like that you could kind of piecemeal build your armor, which was kind of cool. I would say out of all the fantasy games, it's the one I think that probably has my favorite magic system. Magic was very good. Once you got into it and read through the spells, it was actually quite good.
I think my favorite 3 were Star Wars, World of Darkness, and what was the other one?
I don't know. I'd say Brave New World is very high up there for me.
Star Wars,
We played
World
that
of
a
Darkness,
lot.
and Brave New World were probably my 3 favorite. I really like Brave New World.
Yeah.
I always love the Star Wars games. They're always fun. And World of Darkness, well,
World of Darkness is just for me, it's just the one I know the most about.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to play a lot of the others. Now, we do have a game of Ironclaw to play at some point.
We're going to try that.
One. And also,
Fantasy
seriously,
furries.
anyone listening, if you do have suggestions for RPGs, tabletop RPGs for us to play, send us a post on our Facebook page. We'd love to check them out.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for new stuff. I don't know a lot of the new stuff out now. We haven't been into it since the fall of TSR. So love to hear what's new and what's cool.
I've kept up.
You've kept up?
I've kept up.
I haven't kept up much.
So let's
Bunch of
wrap it up
different
then.
games. I guess
Wrap it
so.
up. Banana. We hope you enjoyed A Fistful of Dice, the paper RPG episode of Today Our Guest is Tim. Homework for the next episode comes from this fucking guy right here, from me. I am giving homework for the next episode. The next episode will be called, well, wasn't that awkward? The poop episode of Today Our Guest is Tim, and this homework is...
About poo.
Tell us an awkward story. It can be about poo, but it doesn't have to be about poo. You just tell us an awkward story. I've got 2 for you guys when we do this next time. They're going to be both pretty bad.
I can tell stories very awkwardly. So I can do that. It'll take me forever to get to the point.
Do you have homework for us? Suggestions? Stop making podcasts. Or maybe a word gift? We're at Our Guest is Tim on Twitter. Send them to us. # homework and # word gift. I've been Andy.
And I'm Heather.
And I'm Tim.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye. Get out of here. I move my mic stand again.
How many gajillion hours is it?
Oh, no. It was 2 hours and 48 minutes so far.
All right.
I have to get my ass off this chair after 3 hours. It hurts.
That's not a comfy chair.
Let's go, because I promised Tim we'd show him in the latest episode of our Cartoon President because it was fucking funny as hell. Hannity! Sean Hannity is one of my favorite fucking characters on that. Oh, my ass hurts!
That ended up being our longest episode yet at 2 hours and 49 minutes of recorded audio. Although we cut out over 40 minutes of audio, we saved you the funniest bits. Patreon members get access to listen to the full blooper reel, as well as any other bonus content we create, and get to listen to the podcast on a Friday before the Monday release. So enjoy this brief example of how things can go horribly, horribly wrong. We hope you enjoyed a bottle of... No, that's not right. Originally, the name of this episode was A Bottle of Dew and a Fistful of Dice, but we just shortened it because that was going to be really too long for using, so...
That's fine.
We hope you enjoyed... okay, I got to stop reading the first part. We hope you enjoyed a fist...
Can't do it.
We hope you enjoyed... What?
I said just do the other title. It'll throw them off.